For everybody tuning in on YouTube, what is going on? We just started off our stream for the day. We are going to go ahead and hop straight into our debates with over 100 Trump supporters. In fact, we already have our first Trump supporter, Mr. MAGA, that's his name, up on the stream right now. So, Mr. MAGA, go ahead and tell us why you support who I would classify as one of the worst presidents of our lifetimes, if not the worst president of our lifetimes.
Hey, thank you, Dean. And you can just call me Magalomaniac. No need for formalities. I support Donald J. Trump because I love guns.
Okay, I appreciate you. I just want to. I'm so sorry for cutting you off like so early on in our conversation. There's just a lot of people in the comment section. What does his profile picture mean, you guys? I see like a lot of people like commenting about your profile picture.
It's AI generated.
Okay, I chat. If you guys gotta let me know, it's a Schnazi symbol.
I literally told ChatGPT to make a profile picture with an eagle and a cross.
Okay, it's an iron cross. Well, maybe I just need to get more up to date with like historical symbolization of things. I don't know what an iron cross is. I'll look that up. Oh my God, it is. Yeah, that's definitely an iron cross. I would heavily implore you to either just like have a spine and be like, yeah, I'm a Schnazi, so I could like dunk on you and make fun of you, or like just change in your profile picture, because like the iron cross in your profile picture is definitely like a Schnazi symbol.
Well, I figured if it was allowed with ChatGPT's TOS, it'd be cool everywhere else, and I didn't think it'd let me make a quote-unquote schmatzy symbol.
Well, I don't think that it's violating the platform's TOS, but it is definitely like ethically wrong, I'd say, to include like Schnazi symbolization within your profile picture.
Okay.
I mean, how do you feel about that?
Well, dude, like I said, I told ChatGPT to make a profile picture of an eagle and a cross.
Okay, so I mean, I do understand that you've now explained to us like 3 times like the process in which you underwent to gain that profile picture, but I mean, you're not telling me about like the morality of it. I mean, like,
oh, the morale. Okay, yeah. I mean,
would you say it's like moral to like willingly promote Schnazi symbols?
Yes, because I had no clue this was schmatzy symbol. You get what I'm saying?
Okay, well, your answer to that question should have been no, that it's not okay to promote Schnazi symbols. You just didn't know that that was a Schnazi symbol. Is that what you meant to say?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, hey, I mean, the more you know, like, I mean, I don't know if you're telling us the truth or not. You know, I just hope you are. But anyway, so you told us that you said, like, we're just already off to a rocky start here.
It's all good.
So you told us that you support Trump because of guns, right?
Correct.
Okay. I have a question. Out of the last 2 administrations, which administration passed gun control and which administration did not pass gun control?
Donald J. Trump banned bump stocks.
And what did Biden and Harris do?
Whole lot of nothing. Whole lot of nothing.
Right. So you're voting for more gun control? Is that what you wanted?
No. I'm voting for the guy who didn't come out and say, "Oh, we're gonna ban these assault weapons." I don't know what that is. An assault weapon.
Do you think that that's unconstitutional?
Yeah.
Okay. So then it wouldn't have been passed if it was unconstitutional.
What? Wait. What are you asking? Sorry.
We have like an incredible about like banning ARs. We have an incredibly like conservative leaning Supreme Court. If a ban on ARs was unconstitutional, it would have been struck down before it could be implemented into federal law. So it is a case that never would have actually have occurred. And then also, if you just care about like constitutional rights, the last person you ever would have voted for would be Donald Trump, as he straight up called for the termination of articles in the Constitution in December of 2022. B, called media outlets and organizations illegal, completely disrespecting First Amendment rights. C, told NBC that he straight up was not joking about potentially running for a 3rd term, and it's something that there's ways in which it could be done, etc. And D, your profile picture just got banned off of TikTok, and I think that's awesome.
Yeah, I saw that got taken down. Well, you got what you wanted. Right?
I sure did. If you're curious why I decided to let you up on this, to let you stay on the stream afterwards, it's because that was belligerently an iron cross, which was Schnazi symbolization and which would be stricken down by TikTok TOS. Seems like the people watching the stream did their duty by making sure TikTok knew about it, and now it's gone. So which is a great thing. But feel free to respond to what I just said.
Yeah. So there was a lot to unpack there. Can we go one at a time?
Sure.
Yeah. So the first reason for why Donald Trump was unconstitutional was because he said he was going to suspend what now?
Well, I mean, in December 2022, he called for the termination of the Constitution.
Okay, in what context?
Well, the context was that he lost the election, and he thought that he had the right to overthrow it, and he was really mad that checks and balances, as upheld by the Constitution and executed on by Mike Pence, made his plan fail. So then he just straight up called for the termination of the Constitution.
Well, that's a W Trump right there, because if it was really stolen from him, he would have the right to call for that.
Was it
And
stolen from him?
hey, like you said, man, their Supreme Court justices.
So his account was just banned completely. So if you're curious, insofar as like why he just completely got cut off there, it's because his account was just 100% totally gone. So I think that we face a lot of issues with over moderation by TikTok. I mean, I face them every single day. But like the one time that this over moderation from TikTok is a great thing is with people like that. Like his entire account is just permanently toast because he used an iron cross as his profile picture. What's going on, Baldy? What a name. Do you support Trump?
Yeah.
All right, sir. Well, go ahead and tell us why.
Well, I think that.
Oh, stop. Wait, whoa. What time is it?
I don't know.
Yeah, get out of here. All right, guys. Guys, do keep in mind that if you are in that queue and you do want to come up here and have a conversation, do make sure that you are at least 18 years old and you are from America. All right, we are just looking to have some debates with Americans that either voted for Trump or support him today. The only reason why we're asking for people that support him is because a lot of people voted and changed their mind, or a lot of people couldn't vote because they turned 18 after the election, and that's who we're looking for. So if you are in the live and you are at least 18 years old, you're an American adult, and you support the president, go ahead and drop a MAGA for me down below in that comment section. We'll get you up here for a conversation ASAP, baby, as well as if you're one of the 5.5 thousand people listening to these conversations live, welcome in and do make sure that we are double tapping. And we're going to get that next guest, Mr. Ashton, up on the live literally right now. We are just looking for the next conversation. So here we go. What's going on, Aston? Do you support Trump?
Yes.
All right. What's going on, Mr. quote unquote right wing? Do you support Trump?
Hey, what's up, Dean? Yeah, I do support Trump here. I hear you're coming to Texas A&M. I'll meet you there. I look forward to talking to you in person.
That'll be great.
But yeah, I do support Trump.
Awesome. So it looks like we got a little bit of a 2v1 action going on. That's awesome. Real quick, I'd really like to thank Ducky for the $20 over on Venmo, saying please start the YouTube live. I can't listen on TikTok and do other stuff. YouTube live is going. Ducky, I do appreciate you for the $20. Also, Andrew with a 1, and then AJ with a $10. Thank you so much, you guys. Everybody, please show some love to AJ, Andrew, and Ducky. You guys are all freaking phenomenal. Also, thank you so much, James, for the $30 donation over on PayPal. Thank you so much for the love, James. 300 James W's, 300 James W's, as well as Karen with the 15 and Ann with the 20. Everybody, show some love to Karen, Ann, James, Ducky, all of you very beautiful souls. But go ahead and take it away. You guys tell us why you support Trump.
Ashton, you go first. I'll let you go first, man.
Okay. So, what I support Trump is that he did the colleges, HBCUs, and he did the First Step Act, and what else he did? Well, that's about it.
Okay, so he decreased funding to HBCUs. So Obama gave HBCUs $2 billion every 4 years. So Donald Trump actually cut that down to $1 billion every 4 years, or $250 million per year. So he cut funding to HBCUs. And then Biden and Harris increased that to $4 billion every year, right? So what we see is there was some funding going to HBCUs under Obama. Trump cut it, and then Biden and Harris drastically increased it. So if you care about funding the HBCUs, a very obvious pick would have been Harris.
Well, I didn't like Harris because she's a scumbag, but
And why is that?
because she locked up a lot of black men in the 90s.
Okay, in the state of California,
And
right?
yes, and Joe Biden
Okay.
is racist, and
Oh, okay, well, let's talk about your first claim. So first and foremost, crime stats in the 90s from California, they actually didn't report race. Okay. Secondarily, when you're talking about how much convictions she oversaw during her presidency, and what the claim that you're specifically making had to do with either the use or dissemination of the MDRUG. It was a total of 45 convictions. A disproportionate amount of those were for the dissemination of such. Meanwhile, right, she actually said in 2014 that we need to end the war on DRUGs. And then in 2018, she co-signed on legislation in the Senate to do exactly that. The only reason why her bill failed and the MDRUG is still federally illegal is because of Republicans like Donald Trump and his followers. So if you want to end the war on DRUGS, right, you need to vote against the Republicans.
So what about Biden by his crime bill that locked up a lot of black men?
Okay. Well, I mean, that's bad. Obviously, that's racist. Obviously, I disagree with the crime bill. But I will just ask you, how does that relate to Kamala Harris? Because if your claim is that you didn't vote for Kamala Harris because of racism, well, it is the case that Kamala Harris is not racist and Donald Trump is racist.
Well, she's in her she's was with his administration.
Okay, and I mean, listen, I have an argument to demonstrate that Biden is significantly better than Trump in the context of racism, but I don't even need to give it to you because Kamala Harris is not Biden. And if your argument is, well, Kamala Harris was around Biden, well, Donald Trump was around, who is that child? Predator? Honestly, he's so, I just forget his name. Epstein? He was really good friends with Epstein and really good friends with Diddy. So can we say that because Diddy and Epstein were really bad people, that therefore Donald Trump is too?
In a way, but also Biden spoke at eulogy also KKK.
Yeah, I listen, man. All of these arguments would be incredibly relevant before Biden dropped out and Kamala Harris ran. But Kamala Harris was the candidate that ran. Why is Kamala Harris more racist than Trump?
She's not racist. She just was.
Oh, okay. So, I mean, if you criticize, condemn, and you want to vote against racism, you should have voted against Donald Trump. Since Trump was a racist candidate, Kamala Harris was not.
Well, he's not a racist.
He is racist. He called all black people lazy in 1991, and then he affirmed that that's something he said in 1997. He denied housing applications to black individuals in 1973, and then he said that Obama was literally not even born in America, that he was born in Kenya, and that everybody should literally vote against him, which is saying that this black man should not have a job opportunity because he's a black man. It's also the case that he called for the death penalty for the exonerated Central Park Five 10 years after their exoneration, and as well as he said that you could racially profile immigrants. You could just tell which ones are good and which ones are bad by looking at them. That's a quote coming from his interview with Hannity.
But Biden was a creep, and
you keep on going back to Biden. Kamala Harris ran, man. I'm telling you, I would happily have responded to all these arguments about Biden like 6 months ago, dude. But it was Kamala Harris, dude. So Donald Trump was racist. Kamala Harris was not racist. Then you also said that Donald Trump wasn't racist. So do people that aren't racist just unapologetically be racist for half their life and then continue their racism today?
You got the right to change his mind.
Well, he hasn't. He hasn't changed. Not only has he been racist for half his life, he's also never held himself accountable for said racism, never apologized for said racism, and never tried to be actively anti-racist. In fact, he is still perpetuating racism until this day, such as by doubling down on him calling for the death penalty of the Central Park Five in his debate with Hillary Clinton in 2015, doubling down on saying that you could racially profile undocumented migrants, doubling down on saying that he wants to ethnically cleanse Palestinians from the Gaza Strip and give them no right to return, doubling down on regressive economic policy in which disproportionately disadvantages black Americans, as it is the case that black Americans have a lower socioeconomic standard than white Americans because of slavery and its aftermath. Yes, he is actively racist.
Yeah, and if I could jump in here, this is kind of the reason why I support Trump. I love Trump. I love racism. W Trump. This is all W Trump. I don't see what the problem is here. 1,000-year Trumpenreich. Trump will be reelected.
Go ahead, Ashton. He just wants attention. So
Okay.
we're just not going to give it to him.
So
Chat, I'm being so seriously. People like that, they're just seeking attention. They're racist, bigoted attention seekers that don't get attention from anybody else in their life. Their mother doesn't love them. Their father hasn't talked to them in so many years. Okay, they're self-proclaimed incels, right? because for years and years and years since middle school, nobody has been wanting to talk to them or get in a 5-foot radius. They're just attention seekers. So just we are now just going to redirect our conversation back to action. So take it away.
Okay, so Kamala Harris is sometimey, like she flip flops. One day she changed her mind, and one day she laughs a lot, cackling Harris.
Okay, so you are
And like
completely
she laughs,
changing the
you know,
conversation. So I just want to clarify that we were talking about racism and how you don't think that Donald Trump was a racist candidate, and then I explained to you exactly how. And I just want to clarify that your response to me describing to you how you were wrong and it is the case that Donald Trump is a racist candidate is to say that she laughs a lot.
Well,
So I have a question. What's worse for America, a woman's laugh or a recession?
recession.
Yeah, that's what I thought, okay?
Well, I have a lot to say, but I'm not gonna say it. But
Why not? Why not? You have a mic. Why don't you say it?
I just feel that a woman shouldn't lead the country, and a man should lead the country.
Are you ready to just see like the most beautiful thing ever?
I guess.
Great, because I'm excited for this. Oh my God, watch this. Why are men better at leading than women?
Because in the Bible it says, it's just a man should lead, and the wife should just do wifely duties and follow.
Great. Well, in the Bible, it also says that slavery is okay in Leviticus 25:44 through 46, but that's neither here nor there, assuming the Bible's accurate, and there is a God that designed men to be better at leading than women, right? And he makes that clear to you through his testimony inside of the Christian Bible. That must mean that he designed men and women differently, all right? He created men with different biology, neuroanatomy, personalities, etc., compared to women that make men the better leaders. So what are the relevant differences between men and women that makes men better at leading than women?
Can you repeat that one more time?
Sure, of course. You're saying that the Bible says so. Okay, let's accept that. Let's accept that the Bible says that men are better at leading than women, and let's accept that the Christian God does exist, and that the Christian God designed men to be better at leading than women. What does this tell us? That God must have designed men differently than women to make them better at leading. So what are the differences in the quote-unquote design of men and women that make men better at leading?
Because it's just natural for a man to lead, and
Right. Well, the
woman
question is
should
why.
support.
The question is why. What are the biological differences between men and women that make men naturally predisposed to being better at leadership?
Because they're stronger and they talk better, and they're just, I can't explain it, but it's just what it is.
I think it's funny that you, a man, say men talk better, and then women then say that you can't explain it. But going off of your first point that men are stronger than women, I don't think that physical strength has anything to do with leadership ability. And I'll demonstrate this to you. I have a question. Who's the leader, the football coach or the football players?
Can you repeat that one more time?
Who's the leader, the football coach or the players?
Well, the football coach,
And who's physically stronger?
the football players,
And who's the leader, the president or the Secret Service?
the Secret Service,
No, the president is the leader. And who's stronger? The Secret Service. In fact, can you name one structure of leadership that exists anywhere in the world that is purely determined off of physical strength?
Can you repeat that one more time?
Can you name one structure of leadership anywhere in the world that is purely determined off of physical strength?
Can you rephrase that?
Okay, there's structures of leadership in organizations, in companies, in nations, in military, in sports, in cooperatives, in any time that humans come together to do something, there's usually some type of structure of leadership involved. Okay.
Yes.
So name one structure of leadership anywhere in the world that is purely determined on the basis of physical strength.
Okay, you got me there.
All right. So physical strength does not make you a better leader. Okay. So when you told me that, well, men are better at leading than women because they're physically stronger on average, that point is now null. So, well, back to my main question, what are the differences between men and women that make men better at leading?
I can't answer that.
Okay. And you can't answer that because they don't exist. Okay. And why don't these differences between men and women exist that make men better at leading? Because men aren't better at leading than women. I actually very heavily, vehemently disagree with making such a broad, far-reaching claim about the generalized leadership ability of individuals predicated on their gender identity, because I don't think that one's gender identity tells us anything about how good they are at leading. That's like saying that people that tend to wear red shoes are better at leading than people that tend to wear orange shoes. It's just a completely irrelevant trait to leadership abilities. But if you had a pew-pew to the back of my head and I was being forced to make this evaluation, I'd say women are actually better at leading than men on average because the live just got banned. And now, where do we go from here? And the live got a 3-day ban for a guest violation for hate speech and hateful behavior. And that is just terrible. Absolutely terrible. Wow. At least we got an hour into the stream. Am I right, guys? Am I right? Okay, everybody tuning into the YouTube stream from TikTok. Thanks for being here. We'll give it 5 minutes to see if this appeal goes through. If it doesn't, we'll go live on another account. Hannah, thank you so much for the $5 over on Venmo. I see your message there. I cannot read that off, but it is really fucking funny. And then also, Connor, thank you so much for the $20 donation over on Venmo. Connor says, keep up the good work, Dean. Mr. Connor, that is incredibly kind of you, and thank you so much for the $20, man. Seriously, that is incredibly, incredibly kind of you. Thank you, Connor. And then also, let's go ahead and just check over on the PayPal, see if there's anybody new. Everyone, just give us one moment. We want to make sure that we show love to each and every single one of our donors. There's nothing new over on PayPal. And yeah, anyways, what's going on? TikTok is so annoying. TikTok raid? Yeah, well, I mean, so we just got banned for, like, guest violation. So what I'm thinking is that was probably a mix of the guy that basically said he was a Nazi, and then that guy saying that men were better at leading than women. Unfortunate that we got banned. It's always when the guests are getting slammed by me. Yeah, I've actually recognized that trend too. Like, typically the bans happen when I'm just absolutely cooking somebody. You know what I mean? Somebody openly admitted to being that. Yeah, we had a guest in the stream that's like, racism is great. I don't know, just seeking attention because he's never been able to get it from anybody else in his life. That's like my honest take on people like that. Like it's crazy. It's very crazy, man. Hey, Lisa, thank you so much for the $10 over on Venmo. Thank you so much, Lisa. Lisa says, been watching on YouTube recently. Your voice is pretty quiet compared to the guest. Wasn't sure if you knew. Keep up the great work. Well, first and foremost, thank you for the $10. And then secondly, yeah, I do know that. It's because I guess I'll kind of explain to you guys how the audio goes from my phone into the YouTube stream that you are all watching. By the way, the appeal got approved on TikTok, so we're going to be back up and running here shortly. But I do just want to explain this to you so at least you guys can understand why my mic is a lot quieter than my guests and why there's like actually nothing I could do about it. So what you see here is a port for my phone. It goes lightning to this adapter that includes a phone charger and this USB that goes into my amp over here that you could barely see on the side of the screen. I can't pull it any further than that. And then the amp has an XLR cable on the back. I can't even pull it far enough to show you guys. And then that goes into the microphone that you listen out of. But now you may say, well, how does the sound from the microphone go to the phone and to the computer? And how does the sound from the guests on TikTok go to my headphones and the computer and TikTok? Well, the way that I have it set up is there's active voice monitoring on the preamp, meaning that whenever I talk into the mic, I hear it right back on my headset because my headset is well plugged into the preamp. Okay. But I also hear my phone over this because the phone's sound goes into the preamp and right into the channel, the same as the active voice monitoring. So what I have is a splitter on the preamp right here where it goes from one headphone input that is supposed to be the monitoring of my mic and of my phone. And I have a splitter, meaning that one of the cables just goes to my headset so I could hear everything. And then the other cable goes from the preamp connected to the mic, connected to the phone, into the computer, right? So like a very long-winded explanation there. But essentially, the reason that I cannot make my voice any louder is because that would also make the guest voice louder. They're basically the same audio channel, but if I make the guest voice any louder, it's just going to start to break and it's not going to sound good and they'll just be even more overpowering. So that's why I can't really do anything about that. I think the only thing I can do is just kind of like speak louder. Also, a lot of people are saying that the crowd is confused. Yeah, man, even I'm confused about the whole setup. I mean, it was kind of like an idea in my head, and then it took me like a month to execute on the idea and figure it out. But even like, I'm surprised that it works. If that makes any sense. I'm surprised that this setup works. I'll just blindly accept Dean's reasons. Dude, let's go. Let's go. Scuff said it. Honestly, this is like, I'd say like the best kind of like rig setup that I could use. I think maybe I could make my mic a little louder by adding in like a cloud amp in the XLR cable between that and the mic. I don't know. It's just, I don't know. Anyways, we're back on TikTok. The ban got appealed, which is awesome. Anyways, Michaela, thank you for the $7 saying, hey, Dean, I love you so much. Thank you, Michaela. I love you too. I was wondering if you'd ever consider debating Canadian politics. You're scared that Pierre will win. So I think right now his odds of winning are like 20%. So if I were you, I actually want to be that scared. Hey, for the first 500 people that are tuning back into the TikTok live stream, welcome back in, you guys. So we got banned, but our ban got appealed, which is phenomenal. I mean, I think that rarely ever happens. So when we do get banned and the ban gets appealed and we get our account access back, that's always a good day, right? So we're honestly just going to go ahead and hop right back into the debates. If you are tuning in, one of the first 700 people, make sure that you're spamming that comment section. Make sure that you're spamming the likes and spamming the shares and spamming every type of engagement with the live that you can so we can hopefully shoot out and across at FYP easier. But real quick before we do get our first guest up in here, Spear, thank you for the $20 YouTube super chat. Would I ever consider opening my debates to people that support the admin rather than just Trump? A lot of people claim to overlook his antics, but support the propaganda like RFK and eliminating the Department of Education or DEI. Actually, like the debates are already open to those people. Like, I guess the question more specifically is why do you support the current administration compared to why do you support Trump? But yeah, we're going to get our first guest of the stream up in here, everybody. If you are just tuning back in, we are getting off of a ban. But hopefully the Trump supporters just find her live right away. What is going on, Melanie? Do you support Trump?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, and how old are you?
I'm 19.
Really? What year are you born in? Okay, well, obviously she wasn't 19. By the way, chat, I actually met some young women for Trump yesterday. I was driving.
Oh my God. Hello, Dean Withers.
Troll. I was driving yesterday on the freeway, and this car was like following me and like speeding up and getting next to me. I look over once we finally hit a stoplight, and it's these two young women, and they scream at me and they say that they heavily disagree with my views and that they think babies are people too, right? Referring to my pro-choice position, and they're like recording too. So I looked at them. I gave them a little finger wave. I said, no, they're not, quite frankly. And then I drove away. And then they like sped away. And while they're speeding away, they're like screaming. They're like, yeah, fuck your car. And like all their shit. They were recording. I wonder if the recording will ever hit TikTok. That'd be really funny. Really fucking funny. What is going on, Barbara? Do you support Trump?
I voted for Kamala.
Barbara, we all love you here. WU. I hope that you enjoy the stream. You are awesome. Huge shout out to Barbara. We're going to get on to the next guest. If you're watching right now and you do support Trump, guys, go and drop a MAGA down below in that comment section. All right, you guys, what is going on next? Nev, do you support Trump?
Yep, sure do.
Okay, all right. Why do you support the worst presidential administration of your life?
Stuff like gun control and not supporting Planned Parenthood.
Well, okay, not supporting Planned Parenthood. So you're anti-abortion. Is that your position?
I'm anti-Planned Parenthood given its history.
And why is that?
Because the founder was Margaret Sanger, and she was a literal eugenicist.
That is
and
true.
And had she started Project Inward, and it was to control the births of Black and brown people.
Mm-hmm. So I think that we need to first come to terms with history. What you're saying is true, okay? and what you're saying needs to not be forgotten, needs to be recognized, and needs to be discussed. However, I don't think just because something as racist or wait. Also, I'm hearing a lot of people saying that it isn't true about Project Inward. I'm not familiar with that, but I do know that she was a eugenicist. And what I will say is, just because something has racist origins doesn't mean that it's racist today. And I think that we see like plenty of things in in American society that has racist origins that is no longer racist today. Another really good example would be tipping. So like the origin of tipping in America actually comes from business owners wanting to pay their employees less and then have them reliant on tips, knowing that their business patrons would only tip their white employees and not their black employees. And this was like a legal way for the racist South to try to achieve really low wages for black people following the Civil War. And the reason I bring this up is because I don't feel racist when I go to a restaurant and tip my waitress today, even though tipping in America has racist origins, just like we shouldn't feel like Planned Parenthood offering abortions to American women and girls is racist today, even though the founder that died before abortion was legal in any American state was a eugenicist.
So I'm reading from it's the N-Word Project. It's Wikipedia. The N-Word Project, conceptualized by birth control activist Margaret Sanger and implemented by Birth Control Federation of America, now Planned Parenthood, was an initiative to spread awareness of contraceptives to lower rates in the South. So, and even today, given Planned Parenthood, do you know the percentage of abortions that are performed by race, black and brown specifically? 70%.
Yeah,
70?
I do know that. I do know that, like, specifically speaking, black women are significantly more likely to get an abortion compared to white women. The reason being, 55% of women that get abortions would cite that the reason they did so was because of financial related issues. And the average socioeconomic standing of black people in America is lower than that of the average white American because of slavery, its aftermath, and systemic racism. And this is actually yet another reason why I'd say, no, offering abortions to women in America today is not racist. In fact, banning them is racist. And the reason I say banning them is racist is because it disproportionately negatively impacts black women and black girls.
So how is that not genocide of some sort?
Okay. So now we've kind of got away from the whole it's racist to it's genocide. So let's talk about that. So I think that genocide is necessarily wrongful. Genocide is wrong under all conditions. And I don't think that the killing of fetuses is wrong.
I mean, you're kind of that's kind of like your opinion, but
I mean, no, we share the same opinion. Like I don't like just killing a lot of humans isn't necessarily like genocide. It's like wrongfully killing a lot of humans. And I could give you an example of this. Like for instance, like we kill like hundreds of thousands of brain dead patients every single year by disconnecting them from life support. Those are humans that were alive that are now dead. Do you think that that is an example of genocide?
I was kind of busy reading the comments. It went your comment section went from the Project N-Word is a lie to now we're talking about it. Like it.
So are you
actually
debating your comment section or me?
You, but I
Great,
wasn't.
so then I'd appreciate it if you'd respond to what I said.
Repeat it one more time, the gist of it, and I will.
Yeah, like do you think that there's a genocide occurring in every single developed country on planet Earth today, since we kill hundreds of thousands of brain dead patients per year by disconnecting them from their life support, which takes a human that's alive to be in a human that's dead with intention?
And I think that's slightly different because it's usually the family that makes the decision.
Well, it's
or
always the family
will,
that makes the decision for the fetus.
their will or their trust or whatever. Like it's their wishes that they cognizantly made that, hey, if I'm ever in this position, I want you guys to pull the plug.
Okay, so what about like brain dead patients that specifically do not have a DNR?
This debate, I've heard you have. I listen to you often. This debate, it always goes the same way, and I just hear the same talking points over and over. It's not something I'm
Actually,
really.
this is a brand new talking point that I haven't used for over a year, because the last time somebody told me that abortion is genocide was over a year ago. Okay, so I'd appreciate it if you just go ahead and respond. But I will say, if you've heard me say this a lot, hopefully you've had enough time to think of a cogent rebuttal. And I always think it's funny when people will come up into my live stream and tell me that you've heard me make the same argument a lot and it's essentially a talking point, but then you don't have a cogent rebuttal. All that means is I'm more likely to be right and you're more likely to be wrong because you're not being put on the spot to think of a response. You've had months and months and months of listening to my streams to think of a response. And you still don't have one.
It's the same. You always make the false equivalency of a fetus that is I'm pro-choice, by the way. I live in Arizona, and I voted to uphold constitutionally abortion in Arizona.
Wait, so under your own view, you're okay with genocide?
No,
You're the
if
one
you
that
let
called
me-
the deaths of fetuses through abortion genocide.
If you were to let me finish,
For sure.
I think it is. I think abortion is a necessary evil.
Wait, you're also the one that said
No.
that it was racist. So you're okay with racist genocide.
You don't think it's that way,
So
why?
I want to clarify. You think that racist genocide, under your own view, of course, not my view, your view, is okay?
I'm just calling a spade a spade.
Okay, that is wild. Listen, so I think that this is like a really good example of intention versus impact, bro. Like, I am happy that the impact of your belief is free and equal access to abortion for every single woman and girl in our country. But, oh my God, you should really change the intention there, dude, because that is fucked. Like saying that you think abortion is racist and genocide, and you just call racist genocide a necessary evil that needs to exist. That is like quite possibly like one of the craziest beliefs I've heard ever.
Okay. I have my beliefs and my own morality on one hand, and then on the other, I can see how the real world actually works and what's going on. I have my ideals are just that, right? They're ideals. And then you have your more pragmatic side that, okay, like given the situation, given every person in this country and how they typically feel and believe, this is the way that it would probably work best.
Okay. Well, I've
I think
disputed that
that
it's
can be
racist, and I've disputed that it's genocide. What's next? Wait. Also, you told me that you support the admin because of their position on abortion. Well, the administrative position on abortion is that it should be up to the states and be willing to go away. If you were pro-choice, you wouldn't think that.
I can support the administration, and I could vote one way rather than the other and not necessarily agree with every little single thing that he does.
But this is specifically what you told me you agree with.
Yeah, it should be left to the states.
I think that yields very negative outcomes, especially for pro-choicers, and I can explain to you why. So we could agree that there's like no good reason to restrict a woman's access to abortion prior to 20 weeks, right?
Sure.
Okay. So all that this means is that legislation that bans and restricts a woman's access to abortion prior to 20 weeks is impeding upon their bodily autonomy without good reason. But I think an impedance upon one's bodily autonomy and the lack of good reason is literally a human rights violation. Do you
Well, what
agree?
about, would you apply that same logic to COVID vaccines?
No, I wouldn't, because I'd say that good reason would exist. Same thing for like preventing somebody from murdering one else. But I want you
don't
to
think
agree
that's
here
good.
real quick. Can
I don't
you
think that's good
can you agree? Well, that's so now you're shifting the debate to about the good reason that we would have to enforce COVID vaccines. But I just want you to try to agree to my position here on abortion before you absolutely shift the goalposts. First and foremost, can we agree that restricting somebody's bodily autonomy without good reason is a human rights violation?
Sure.
Okay, so then you think that abortion bans are committing human rights violations, right?
No, because they can, well, except in Texas, which admittedly goes way too far with their, turn someone in and their bounties. I think that's way too far. But someone could go across state lines and do such. They can order mifepristone. That's been upheld through the Supreme Court so far. They
Hey.
can order mifepristone through the
Hey, we
mail
have a big issue.
that way.
We have a big issue. Okay, I'm going to speak slowly and I'm going to speak clearly. You agreed that there's no good reason to restrict a woman's access to abortion in the first 20 weeks of her pregnancy.
They're not restricted.
Okay. You then agreed, right, that laws such as the pro-life legislation we see in like what is it, 35 of our states restrict a woman's access to abortion prior to 20 weeks. What that means is that those laws impede upon a woman's bodily autonomy without good reason. Okay, can we agree there?
No, because they can go and get an
No.
abortion another way.
Okay, so I just want to clarify
Texas.
when slavery was legal in the South but illegal in the North, slavery was not a human rights violation because if they didn't want to have their bodily autonomy restricted, they could have moved to the Union.
Well, the North sure seemed to think so, and the North wound up winning.
So I want to clarify what you think. Do you think slavery was a human rights violation even though they could just move to the Union?
Sure, yeah.
Great. So just because you can quote unquote move to an area where you won't have this restriction upon your human rights doesn't mean it's not a human rights violation. So because pro-life legislation restricts a woman's access to abortion, and you think there's no good reason to restrict a woman's access to abortion, as yourself described as being pro-choice, you think that that's unjustly infringing upon a woman's bodily autonomy without good reason, and you agreed that unjustly infringing upon somebody's bodily autonomy without good reason is a human rights violation. So what this means is that you think, at least necessarily and logically speaking, this is concluded from the principles you've shared, that restricting a woman's access prior to 20 weeks is a human rights violation. So I have a question. Should human rights be left up to the states or protected on the federal level?
On the federal level.
Great. So then you think that access to abortion should be protected on a federal level?
I mean, overall, sure. But if you can, I maintain that they except in Texas, where there's bounties, which I conceded, Texas goes way too far. They can order mifepristone through the mail, and they can go across state lines. They are not completely restricted. They said no abortions will be performed in XYZ state.
Hey, watch this. What conclusion is the useless information that you're sharing with us right now do for your position? Like I just want to clarify. The last 3 sentences that you just shared are absolutely useless for any position that you're trying to debate with me. The reason why it's absolutely useless in the context of this debate is because you just conceded that abortion needs to be protected on the federal level, meaning that insofar as the principles that you hold to be the case towards abortion, that Kamala Harris was a better candidate as she wanted to protect it on the federal level for all American women and girls. Meanwhile, that Donald Trump wanted to give it to the states to legislate on, and you think that's a human rights violation, meaning that Kamala Harris was a better candidate than Donald Trump in the context of abortion.
You know, when Roe versus Wade was
Wait,
first,
stop, don't pivot. I want you to affirm or deny that conclusion based upon the principles that you've already suggested to us.
I deny it.
Okay, so now we have a logical contradiction. And what I'm now going to go ahead and do is I'm going to reiterate my argument premise by premise, and I want you to tell me where I went wrong, okay?
Okay.
Premise number 1, violating somebody's bodily autonomy without good reason is a human rights violation.
Sure.
Premise number 2, there's no good reason to ban a woman's access to abortion prior to 20 weeks.
Sure.
Premise number 3, abortion bans impede upon a woman's bodily autonomy without good reason prior to 20 weeks.
Sure.
Okay, the conclusion of this would be that an abortion ban is a human rights violation, correct?
A national abortion ban, which there isn't one.
Nowhere in like the premises that you accepted that have anything to do with at the state or national level, the conclusion that it yielded is that an abortion ban at any level is a human rights violation.
I think there's a lot more nuance than you're letting on.
Sir, so at this point, you are categorically acting outside of accordance with logic. So all that I did is I gave you a syllogism. A syllogism is a premise by premise argument that yields a conclusion. Okay, you accepted all of the premises in the conclusion in the argument, which means that the conclusion is necessarily true unless you could demonstrate that the argument is invalid. But as far as I'm concerned, because you accepted every single premise in the argument, you must also accept the conclusion that abortion bans are human rights violations.
No, I don't.
Okay, so then you're then you're just acting outside of logic, and you've obviously never taken a single class on philosophy, logic inside of philosophy, or formal
Philosophy's not even
argumentation.
real, bro. Philosophy's not real. It is a way. That's why it's not a hard
Yeah,
science.
so
It's
I just want to
philosophy.
clarify. You were saying right now that logic isn't real.
No, you said philosophy, and I said philosophy.
I said logic inside of philosophy, insofar as how that would be applied to argumentation, insofar as like formal argumentation and premise and in syllogism, we use syllogisms to yield conclusions, and as long as it is valid in the sense that the premises logically entail the conclusion, if all of the premises are true, the conclusion must also be true. Can you please accept that?
Says who?
Actually, thank you. So says like the 3 classical laws of logic. Says
Okay,
logic.
Cool. But there's a lot more to life, and I'm sure there's competing philosophies on your sigillism and stuff like that.
No, there's not.
I bet you there is.
No, there's not.
Not all philosophers agree.
Yes, we do. Yes, we
Oh,
do. Yes, we do about basic syllogisms. Yes, we do. I mean, there's competing schools of thought insofar as what laws of logic should be accepted, such as the classical laws of logic or Aristotelian logic. But it is the case that both Aristotelian logic and classical logic both do accept like the application of syllogisms.
Okay. But I disagree. So
Okay.
clearly,
All right. So when you say that you disagree, you're just literally saying that you disagree with logic, which is going to be the necessary conclusion from your view. It's that in order for this guy to hold the position that he supports Trump, he has to say that logic that he's operating outside of logic. So I have a question. If you're operating outside of logic, does it mean that you're illogical?
no.
That was yet another conclusion that operated outside of logic. Okay, if you're outside of logic, that means you're void of logic. What do we call it when you're void of logic? When something's void of logic, we call it illogical. Okay, all illogical means, okay, the proposition that word represents is outside of logic.
I'm reading about your little syllogism right now, and even when this was coming about, there were competing schools on which one was right and wrong. Within of itself proves that there are competing thoughts on this kind of stuff that you're talking about. Even when they were
So
conceiving
competing schools of thought on what specifically?
on syllogism,
What's a syllogism?
what you're talking about,
Which is, I
point
want you
by
to define it.
point by point, and then you got to reach a conclusion. So in antiquity, two rival syllogistic theories existed: Aristotelian syllogism and Stoic syllogism. So
What's a Stoic syllogism?
even at I don't care.
You
My
have no
point
fucking
is,
clue you're talking. You are like, dude. Listen,
I'm reading.
I've done one thing in my life, okay, that I'm really proud about, and that's when I went to college and paid more money than I should have to learn about philosophy and
Philosophy's
logic
not real, bro.
inside of philosophy. And
real.
if you're gonna sit up here and reject syllogisms, I obviously know that like the average person, especially the average individual that's like politically involved, doesn't really like put too much focus on logic inside of philosophy and formal argumentation. But B, like I'm laughing at you so hard in my own head because you are literally just rejecting logic. That's all that you're doing. That's all that you're doing. And like I could detail this to you so easily. So I
One
got you to
school of
accept
logic.
4 premises. What school of logic am I referencing?
Syllogism.
Syllogism isn't a fucking school of logic. Syllogisms represent formal argumentation in which schools of logic can be applied to, right? And I'm not even referencing like a quote unquote school of logic, unless you want to say that like classical logic is a school of logic. No, I'm just referencing the 3 classical laws of logic. You just don't even know what you're fucking talking about, so don't try to talk about it, okay? Listen, the point is that I laid out to you 4 premises, okay? A, that there's no good reason to restrict a woman's access to abortion prior to 20 weeks. B, it is a human rights violation to impede upon somebody's bodily autonomy without good reason, which would mean C, that restricting a woman's access to abortion before 20 weeks is a human rights violation, and D, that an abortion ban restricts a woman's access to abortion, which yields the conclusion that abortion bans are human rights violations.
I maintain that you can order mifepristone through the mail and you can go to another state to get an abortion. There is no federal abortion ban.
But see, everything that you're saying right now doesn't change a damn thing, because any abortion ban would yield human rights violations for the reasons that I just described.
I disagree because it's not federal.
So which one of my reasons was wrong?
Because you can still get an abortion, just not in certain states. But you can order mifepristone and you can go to another state.
So you're just saying that it's not a human rights violations if you could hypothetically move elsewhere where you won't be subject to said legislation?
You don't have to move there. You just you order something through the mail from an abortion clinic or doctor.
So you're saying it's not a human rights violations if there's something that you could possibly do to get around it?
I think that's what I'm saying, yeah.
Okay. So was it possible for enslaved individuals in the American South to find their way to the Union?
Yeah, on the Underground Railroad and stuff like that.
So then in accordance with your own views, slavery was not a human rights violation.
No, because except in Texas, where there are bounties, and it does go to, I would say that is more along the lines of a human rights violation.
Okay, so you are now rejecting logic once again. You said if it is possible to avoid the subjugation of immoral legislation, the legislation cannot be a human rights violation, which means, in accordance with your own view, that slavery was not a human rights violation, since it was possible for an enslaved individual in the American South to avoid said subjugation by finding their way to the Union.
There's more nuance, and that's a false equivalency.
You don't even know what nuance is. I can't believe that I still have you on my live. I'm literally just torturing myself. Hey, we're going to go ahead and do a vote in the chat. Everybody watching, should I just kick this person for being absolutely like outside of any like cogent form of discussion?
I wanted to talk about gun control first. That'd be fun.
I'm sorry. I'm just doing like a quick vote with my chat.
I wonder what they're gonna say.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Everyone wants your gun alongside me. Adios, man. We're going to move on to the next guest. Like, dude, oh my God. I'm so sorry. Like, okay. I think here's my best way to describe what just happened. So when we're having these conversations, when we're debating, we have to operate. The person is very loud. Inside of some like bubble of like logic. Okay. Or principles, right? We have to hold the principles and test them out in different contexts to see if they're true. Okay. But like that last guest, he wasn't doing any of that shit. He was just saying whatever the fuck he wanted. What's going on, No Play? Do you support Trump?
Oh, yeah, I kind of do, man. I got a question, though.
All right, well, you're on pause. I cannot hear you while you're on pause. But, hey, man, before you do ask your question, I got to thank a couple people. Megan, thank you so much for the $5 over on PayPal. Jamie with the $5. And then Heather, oh, my God. Heather with the $100 donation over on PayPal. Thank you so much for the love, Heather. Holy shit. I want to see 1,000 W's for Heather down below. Heather says, thank you so much for your work. You inspire me to not only be more informed than I am, but I also better engage with my MAGA family members. But I also struggle with social anxiety. Watching you do what you do and knowing you have anxiety as well makes me believe that I could do more than what my anxiety tells me. You're making the world better in more ways than you realize. Thank you, Dean. Heather, that is so incredibly kind. And that is right. I do actually have very high levels of anxiety, specifically social anxiety. So like kind of getting to the point where I'm at today has been pretty daunting. But hey, I really appreciate you so much for the love, Heather. And then also Michelle with the $50 donation over on Venmo saying, thank you for being a shining light in this dark time. You are so appreciated. Thank you, Michelle and Heather. You guys are phenomenal. And then also Kindle, the $11.11. And then Lisa with the $10 as well. Thank you, everybody, so much for the love. Please, please, please show some love to our donors. You guys are all so incredible. But you said that you have a question, Mr. Guest. Go ahead and take it away.
Yes, I have a question. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we could all hear you fine.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, I support Trump, but I'm also not a Republican. I'm for, like, whoever I feel at the time is doing what's right, whether it could be a Democrat or a Republican or an independent person. But I just wanted to ask you, bro, because you know a lot, bro. So why is it okay for other people to tariff us, but not them? And I'm honestly just asking, bro, because I'm like confused about that. Why it can't be reciprocal?
A great question. Okay. So first of all, I want to point out that I typically think that like all tariffs are bad. Okay.
Right.
But like, hey, we need to realize that when we tariff other countries, it hurts us significantly more than when other countries tariff us. Like the worst outcome from other countries tariffing us is maybe like some decreases in the productivity of our manufacturers because it makes it a little bit harder for them to export their goods. Okay, like if all other countries in the world drop their tariffs on America today, our exports would go up a little bit. But when we tariff every other country in the world today, we are barreling towards a recession and trillions of dollars are being wiped out of the stock market. Okay, so the effects of us tariffing the world are much more detrimental than the world tariffing us. But I will say that I think essentially all tariffs need to go, regardless of it's us imposing them on another country or it's another country imposing them on us. But I will also say the right way to get other countries to reduce their tariffs on us is to negotiate trade agreements with them, not to impose tariffs on them.
Okay. Yeah, because it's hard to balance once they start throwing out the numbers, this country is doing this. It kind of just seems like we as a country already dug ourselves in a hole to where, tampering with the tariffs could be detrimental or it could be a good thing. I guess it's kind of like a waiting game at this point, right? Or should we just not do it at all?
So I think that we shouldn't really impose tariffs on any other country, with like the exception of like tariffing and sanctioning immoral means of production, such as like Russia right now because they're ethnically cleansing Ukraine, or like some companies that are reliant on child or slave labor. But outside of that, I don't think that we should implement any tariffs. But like we should actively be trying to achieve more trade agreements with as many countries as possible to get them to reduce their tariffs on us, which has like historically been successful through things such as the TPP, NAFTA, or the USMCA. Like other countries want to go into trade agreements with us because we're the richest country on earth. We have the largest GDP by far, and we account for 30% of global commerce.
All right, man. Thank you, bro. I just wanted to hear your insight on that, bro, because I'm sure a lot of people wanted to know how you felt about that, in its entirety. So thanks, bro.
No, man, you asked a great question, and honestly, I spent a lot of my time last night thinking about this because I was watching some other debate where a liberal was saying like, "There's no issue with other countries tariffing us," and then it's like, "Well, do I agree? Do I disagree?" And I kind of like fleshed out my thoughts a little bit more. So I'm happy I had an opportunity to share them. I appreciate you for coming up, man.
Oh yeah, keep doing your thing, man.
As well, peace out. All right, we're gonna move on to the next guest, you guys. If you are MAGA, let me know in that chat, and we're gonna pull you up here for a conversation. So everybody, just do be patient, y'all. Everybody, just do be patient, y'all. We're gonna look for that next guest literally right now. Go ahead and spam MAGA down below in that chat if you do want to come up and have a discussion. Let's see who is next. All right. We are going to get Jenna up in the box right now. And oh my God, Janet with the $100 YouTube super chat. Holy shit, Janet. That is so incredibly kind. Thank you so much for the love. I want everybody watching the live right now to spam so many Janets right fucking now. That is insane. Thank you so much, Janet. That is so incredibly kind of you. All the love to Janet. All the love to Janet. Diva Janet is back. It's been a while. Hope that you're doing well. And yeah, we're going to get that next guest up here. But Janet says, keep it up. Love you, Dean. I love you too, Janet. Huge shout out to Diva Janet and Foco. Hope you're doing well. What's going on, Kitty? Do you support Trump?
Girl, you crazy. Oh.
Hey, I think we're going to have to kick Kitty because she's on the phone unless she could hear me. Hey, Kitty, do you hear me?
That's right.
Kitty can't hear us, so we're not going to be leaking her private phone conversation. We're just going to move on, unfortunately. All right, moving on, yo. Posse, thank you so much for the $10 YouTube super chat. Coming from somebody with BPD, I applaud how patient you are with these MAGAs. Put my dono on the Uncrustables. Much love from you. Much love from Wyoming. Hey, well, first of all, I appreciate you for the love, and I will put that towards Uncrustables. I actually have to go out and get some more because I just kind of ran out of them. And yeah, it is really hard to be patient with the guests sometimes, but it is good because it makes for more productive conversations. Absolutely. Like we are going to have significantly more productive conversations without me like getting upset, even if like I have good reason to get upset. What's going on, Low Taper? Do you support Trump?
Okay. Don't. I love you so much.
Okay, well, I do appreciate you for the love. We're going to move on to the next guest right now. So everyone just go ahead and give us a minute. Quite frankly, somebody in the chat says, how are you still relevant? How are you still coping after all these months? Get a load of that.
Hello.
Joker. What's going on, Spud? You were spamming MAGA in that comment section, so you support the Orange Menace, right?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, Jesus Christ, why?
I was trying. Well, I mean, I don't know. I live in Georgia. I've served the military, and I just while I was serving in the military, I only met one Democrat. Everybody else liked Trump.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that like we'll see different like industries. For whatever reason, hold like social stigmas around certain beliefs. I think that's just kind of what happens with when a lot of humans coalesce in the same space. And I think that for whatever reason, we've just seen like an indoctrination of military service members towards the Republican Party because propaganda and a lack of being informed on politics will tell you that they're the patriots, but I think that's unequivocally false.
Well,
I think that Donald Trump is the biggest traitor to this country since the Civil War, and he's a genuine threat to the Constitution in which you are supposed to protect.
Well, I'm not in the military right now. I actually just got out.
Well, thank you for your service nonetheless.
Thanks, Dean. All I was saying is throughout my entire service in the military, I just feel like Republicans are more patriotic, and that's strictly from being there. You know, I don't know if you know any vets, or had any vets up here, but yeah.
Well, so the reason why I don't think that MAGA is more patriotic is because Donald Trump tried to coup our civil electoral processes and steal a presidential election, which, if he was successful in doing so, would have silenced the voice and the vote of every single American in 2020. In December of 2022, he also called for termination of the Constitution. So far in this term, he's violated court orders on multiple circumstances, and he's called media organizations straight up illegal, disrespecting the constitutional First Amendment right to freedom of expression and freedom of press. As well as the idea that he ran on another violation of the First Amendment, wanting to lock people up for burning the American flag. And he told NBC that he wasn't joking about wanting to run for a third term, which would be a violation of the 14th, and not 14th, of the 22nd Amendment. So I mean, we just simply don't see, sentiments from MAGA that aid and abet in wanting to protect civil liberties, rights, and freedoms, and the Constitution as a whole, which I think is like a threat to the patriotism of this country. I think that it's very unpatriotic.
I wanna ask you something else. So this is some other debates, or that I have really with my wife's a Democrat and I'm a Republican, so we try to avoid politics. Do you think racism towards white people exists?
Well, racism towards white people. Here's the thing. I think it depends on how you define racism. I'm like pretty sympathetic to like a definition of racism, in which would like include like structural influence and power. And I think that because white people hold that, in accordance with the definition of racism that I'm more sympathetic to, no. But I mean, I definitely do think a lot about it. And I'm pretty open to having my mind changed, but it's like the more I think about it, the less sympathetic I am to a definition of racism that would include racism towards white people.
Okay. And I had another topic. I don't know if you wanted to discuss. What do you think about kid that killed the other kid at the track meet?
Well,
Who do
I,
you
I, I I think I've like heard about it, but I haven't really done any research into it.
Oh, I feel like a lot of these people that are supporting him that completely forgot about the Kyle Rittenhouse thing, and it just
I don't even know what you're talking about. I don't.
you don't remember
No, I know
the
what Kyle Rittenhouse is, but I don't really.
it's pretty much the
remember.
same, almost the same scenario, except Kyle Rittenhouse was getting stomped out, and this guy was in the wrong tent and he was asked to leave, but
I don't
yeah, I
understand
don't.
how this correlates to Kyle Rittenhouse. But like
It,
specifically about like with the instance of what you're referring to, I don't know any of like the specifics of the case. All I know is that somebody ended up dying. I've heard a lot of people say that, it was self-defense. A lot of people say that it wasn't self-defense. I just haven't looked into it myself, so I don't know.
Yeah. So what would you say to the hundreds of other active service members? Mind you, I just got out that want Trump as president, that are actively putting their lives on the line.
Yeah, I tell them to come listen to my
Meanwhile,
live because the reasons why they put their lives on the line directly contradict the reasons why they support Trump. And in fact, Donald Trump is the greatest threat to the American democracy and the American Constitution that this world faces compared to any country overseas or a group of people overseas. And I think that needs to be recognized. But listen, I want to ask you this question because you asked me if I think that racism towards white people exists. Let me ask you a question. Do you think that racism towards black people not only exists but is prominent in America today?
I don't think there is any systematic racism. I think there are racist people, but I don't think there's nothing that I can do that a black person can't do, or a Hispanic person. And I just don't believe in organizational racism. I don't believe it exists.
Okay.
I believe
I
there are
think
racist
do you mind if
people.
I ask you a question just out of curiosity?
Yes.
So when I look at like certain stats, such as the idea that, 98% of our presidents have been white, a disproportionate amount of like big business owners, Fortune 500 CEOs, execs, and like in institutions with a lot of like power over society, or like all disproportionately white. Like the first thing that comes to mind is, well, like the reason why these individuals are disproportionately white is because black individuals have not had the same opportunity historically or now to get in those positions of influence or power.
But
I
Barack
feel like if
Obama
you
was black.
reject the existence of systemic racism and you reject the notion that black individuals have had less opportunity compared to white individuals to be in these positions of influence or power, well, then how do you explain it?
I mean, Barack Obama was black, and he was literally at the top of the top positions of America. So
Right.
that
I
that
no,
that
I don't dispute that, but I mean that also doesn't dispute the claim that it has been disproportionately white individuals who have not only served in the roles of the presidency of America, but also like Fortune 500 CEOs in positions of power and influence across our country. I'm not claiming that black people cannot exist in positions of power or influence. I am claiming that black people are significantly disadvantaged contrasted to white people to be in those positions of, power or influence. And the idea that black people are significantly disadvantaged compared to white people is an example of systemic racism materialized in America today, right? But if you deny that that's an example of systemic racism materialized in America today, can you explain to me why a disproportionate amount of like leaders and individuals with structural and institutional power and influence are white.
I actually, there's more advantages for black people.
Can you answer my? I've asked you this question twice. Can you please answer it?
You just told me. I'm answering it right now.
No. Because once again, the question that I'm asking you is, how do you explain under your view that rejects systemic racism, specifically why a disproportionate amount of Fortune 500 CEOs, leaders of big tech companies, individuals with influence, power, and money are all white? How do you explain that the average white American has a higher socioeconomic standard compared to the average black American? How do you explain these things in a worldview that does not account for the existence of systemic racism?
I feel like America's just kind of like catching up with itself. Obviously, the original colonists were all white. We just got to a point less than 100 years ago where black people are equal to white people. So I think America's kind of just catching up with itself.
So when you say America's catching up with yourself, like what does that even mean? Are you saying that like the reason why like black individuals are significantly over-policed, they account for 45% of exonerations, and they have significantly less influence and representation within positions of power, and their socioeconomic standards are lower, is because of the long-term effects of slavery and its aftermath?
I mean, I think it put them. You know, I guess you did prove me wrong.
Because guess what? The long-term effects of slavery and its aftermath is an example of systemic racism in America today. Listen, man, that's my view. And I think that it is a very common sense view when you actually start to think about it. And I'm not going to lie, dude, when I was younger, I didn't think that systemic racism existed. People would talk about it. I'd be like, what are these nonsensical liberals saying? But, you know, the more I thought and I engaged in these discussions, the more I was like, holy shit, like they're right.
You want to know where racism like outright exists towards Americans though? When I was stationed in Japan, dude, they hated Americans. Like I couldn't even catch a taxi without an X being thrown out saying "Not American, not American." Like there are countries that are actually outright racist, and I don't think America is one of them. Like
hey, man, I'd like to clarify that American is not a race.
I mean, they're racist towards all Americans. I guess it's racism.
Listen, man. If there was somebody that was serving in the military that was in Japan and couldn't get a taxi because they're American, that was black, would you still say like that was?
No, that's still racism. Yes, 100%. Well, I don't know what
it's more so referenced as like xenophobia.
Yeah, I'm not really too sure what the term for not really racism, but I guess racism toward a certain nationality. I'm not really too sure what that is.
So quote unquote racism towards a certain nationality is called xenophobia.
Oh, well, I'm not too caught up with all that.
And I mean, hey man, maybe there is a lot of people in Japan that hold some prejudice towards Americans. What did America do to Japan?
What did Japan do to us first? We didn't even.
So you're right. Like the Japanese military committed Pearl Harbor, but we dropped.
Yeah, that on a Sunday morning, people were having church, dude. Have you seen like the documentaries?
Like we dropped 2 nukes on the country.
Absolutely. That'd be like.
Do you think that might explain like some like prejudice towards Americans?
I mean, I'm just one of those guys. I'm a very patriotic.
Also, what did you just say? Because I wasn't listening. What did you say?
I said I would just say like
And then also, let's not treat like maybe I'm at fault for a little bit of this too. I need to reframe and say something real quick. So I just asked you like, what do we do to Japan? Then you're like, well, what did Japan do to us? And I just kind of let it slide. But let's not treat Japan as a monolith, okay? Because when I asked you what America did to like Japanese individuals, we dropped 2 nukes on them that killed over 300,000 people. And then your response to me was like, well, what did they do to us? Well, the 300,000 individuals that were unalived by the 2 nukes we dropped on the country did nothing to us, okay? That was something that was committed by the Japanese military in accordance with the powers that existed at hand in the country at that given point in time.
I'm not gonna say that it's wrong for all those civilians to be killed. However,
you're not gonna say it's wrong? I would.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm gonna say it's wrong. Sorry.
Yeah. Then also like internment camps. Okay. Do we remember where we had internment camps in America where we would just straight up arrest, detain, and place individuals in internment camps if they like quote unquote like look Japanese?
Yeah, that's pretty messed up. I'm not gonna lie to you.
It's
Um,
it's terrible, dude.
yeah. Well, I mean, like I said, like if Japan took a shot at us and we gave them a shot back,
Well, I've already responded to that. You're treating Japan like a monolith. The 300,000 individuals that were killed by the nukes we dropped on them, what shot did they take at us?
what would you do? What would you do if someone bombed your neighborhood with all your family over there, and when you had the power to strike back or send soldiers in individually and hope that they do a good job, when you can just cause a mass destruction and just eliminate the threat?
Listen, so first and foremost, you're saying eliminate the threat. I don't think that the 300,000 Japanese citizens that were killed by the nukes were the threat, okay?
No,
And
but
also, I'd like to
most-
clarify here, without you interrupting me, that hey, I'm not a wartime strategist. I don't claim to be a wartime strategist. I think the best that I could do, like I won't suggest like the most preferable view. I'll just merely suggest a view that is more preferable than dropping 2 nukes on the country. Like a more preferable view to respond to Japan because of Pearl Harbor compared to dropping 2 nukes on the country. We could have sent special operative teams into the country to specifically like coup the powers that be over the country that decided to commit Pearl Harbor, right? Coffee, thank you so much for the space cap. I'm not saying that's the most preferable view. I'm just saying that that is significantly more preferable to like dropping 2 nukes on the country and killing 300,000 civilians.
Not for the longevity of America, because there was we were going into a World War II. That was our entrance pretty much into.
So are you saying that dropping the nukes was necessary?
I mean, for us to go into a world war and to prevent more American soldier casualties, yes, 100%.
Okay, I'm just.
It took them out, didn't
so,
it? It took them out.
Okay, hey, real quick. I have a question. Would you be okay with Palestine nuking Israel to prevent the casualties of more innocent Palestinians?
I am a America should stay to itself type of person.
I just want to ask you real quick. Would you be okay?
If I was a Palestinian,
because
or if I was
let's
an
just apply
Israeli.
these ideologies to places outside of America. Like, would you be okay with Palestine literally dropping like 4 fucking nukes on Israel just to end the death of innocent Palestinians?
Okay, am I talking as an American, Palestinian, or Israeli?
You're talking as you?
As an American, I really wouldn't care. I feel like
Fucking
America.
hell. Dude, okay, so you're just like devoid of empathy. Like these views are so evil, man. When you're saying, oh, it was absolutely necessary to kill like 300,000 individuals with the nukes, where like children's skin melted, okay, and they were left a pile of dust. Children, okay, toddlers, 5-year-olds, their skin melted off of their bones, and they died from radiation. And then everybody outside of the immediate blast zones, you're saying that was necessary to serve the best interests of America. I think that this is going from protecting our country to just belligerently killing innocent people with very harmful and disgusting senses of imperialism, false patriotism, and just a absolute void and lack thereof any level of emotion, empathy, or care for others because of like your nationality. And I think it's funny that earlier you were bringing up that you felt as if racism was more predominant outside of America by saying that a Japanese cab driver wouldn't let you in the back of their car. But then you turn around and you say that it's not as prominent in America, even though you, an American, are now saying that it was okay for us to melt the skin off of 300,000 innocent Japanese individuals.
When did I say it's okay? When I said I simply don't.
You said it was exactly.
I said I simply don't care.
Saying that you simply don't. Yeah, exactly. So what, dude? Saying that you don't care is saying that it's okay. So like, what's worse? Not letting an American in the back of a Japanese cab, or you saying that you simply don't care about the skin melting off of like innocent women and children, dude?
Dude, like I said, I am.
No, tell me which one is worse.
I said America should stay to its own.
That's not what I asked you.
I mean, we can go back and forth.
So I want you to answer my question. Which one is worse? A Japanese cab not letting you in the back of their car? Are you saying that you simply don't care about the skin melting off of 300,000 innocent Japanese individuals?
I was bringing up the Japanese cab incident as a show of actual racism. I don't really care that I wasn't able to get in the back of the cab, just like I don't really care.
So will you answer my question?
I mean, obviously the children getting skin melted is worse.
Oh,
but
okay. So I just want to clarify. If you think that, oh, well, first of all, it's not fucking racism. America isn't a race. It's called xenophobia. If you think it's xenophobic for that cab driver to not let you in the back of their car, and that's a show of actual xenophobia, well, what are you showing to us right now? Like a level of xenophobia, and which is just like never been seen ever on this earth before? Because if a Japanese cab driver not letting you in their car is like the end of the world, well, like holy fucking shit, you saying that you don't care about the skin melting off of 300,000 Japanese innocent civilians during World War II must be what? Like Thanos snapping half of the universe away, right? Like that is just like generationally terrible xenophobia.
But why does America have to get involved in every country's problems?
Nothing what you're saying is relevant to what I'm saying right now. You're being absolutely dude.
Answer the question. Why do we need to get involved in every country's matters?
What's the relevance of this to the conversation that we're having?
I'm asking you, why does America need to get involved with Palestine, Israel, Russia, Ukraine? Who cares? That's not American. I think America should stay to themselves. And that's just facts.
Okay, so just say it out loud. Tell me, Dean, you are absolutely changing the topic of conversation because you can't handle the heat. And then I'll let you change the topic of conversation because you can't handle the heat. And I'll respond to your claims.
Dean, whatever you just said, yeah, you can. Yeah, that's what I said. I can't take the heat. Let's move on to the next thing.
Great. Well, I mean, let's just test for the consistency of your ideas here in the context of isolationism. So real quick, do you think that it was a good thing for America to involve themselves on the European front of World War II to combat Nazi Germany?
Honestly, no. I think we should have stayed out of that war as well.
Okay. So you think that Nazi Germany should be left to their own devices?
I said America should stay out of it.
Okay, why?
Yes, because they were pushing communism on all the surrounding countries.
So no, they were pushing an authoritarian dictatorship. You don't know what communism is.
Communism is pretty much if I'm making the same amount as everybody else, isn't it?
No, it's not.
You explain communism.
Communism, in a nutshell, okay? I know a lot of leftists are about to say, boo, Dean, you have no clue what communism is. In a nutshell, communism is a stateless, classless, moneyless society. It gets a lot more complex, a shit ton more complex, but there's like a very basic running definition. Okay, when we're referencing Nazi Germany, they were not communists. In fact, they were not even socialists. So they were like a fascist regime that upheld like an authoritarian dictatorship with like the states owning some means of production just to like further state control to aid and abet inside of like an authoritative fascist regime. And that has like really nothing to do with like communism or socialism. Not really.
Huh?
So they weren't communist.
Okay. Well, like I said, I feel like America should have just stayed to themselves. I feel like the only country we owe anything to would probably be France, and that's because they helped us form as a country.
Hey, I have a question. So if your neighbor had a young daughter and your neighbor had left that young daughter at home alone, and then some burglar came in and started to assault that young daughter, would you do anything to help that young girl that was being assaulted?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, why?
You said what?
Okay, why?
Because it's a little girl.
Okay, so you think that in some sense, if you have the ability to prevent very atrocious human rights violations such as child rape, that you're almost obligated to prevent morally atrocious human rights violations such as child rape, insofar as to the extent that you're able to.
Yeah, but I know you're about to.
So this idea alone, I just want to clarify.
You're turning this into
this idea alone rejects the version of isolationism that you're describing, because this is the exact line of thought that I would use to justify an American involvement on the European front of World War III,
Look,
because we had the ability to, help reject the Holocaust and the genocide, not only of Jewish individuals, but of gay individuals, of Romani individuals, of black individuals, of individuals with certain, with other related conditions. And it is like, I was thinking about like the specific classification. It's just not coming to mind. But anyways, and I'd say for that reason, involvement would be justified. And like, there's almost like an obligation that existed there for involvement.
Dean, you're applying an individual going to a neighbor's house to a whole country with affairs and government. There's a complete difference there. It's
Okay. So what's the relevant distinction? Why is this principle true for you and your neighbor, but not true for America and the Holocaust?
One of them is an American, and an individual is attacking a girl, versus an entire country that America would be getting involved in. So that's the big distinction there. You can't really.
So I mean, you're naming like differences, and of course differences will exist because if it's merely analogous, it's not identical. But I don't find that to be a relevant difference. I'd say that America did something good by involving themselves on the European front of World War II, because like Germany was actively killing millions of people, and maybe the American involvement on the European front of World War II helped slow the deaths of those killed at the hands of the Holocaust and the genocide onset by Nazi Germany, and that's a good outcome.
And what? Okay, so if you're all for ending war between.
Also, Johnny, thank you so much for the raid, man. Thank you so much, everyone. Please show some love to Johnny.
If you're all for stopping all these wars, then why aren't you happy with Trump stopping the Russian and Ukrainian war?
Because the way that he wants to quote unquote stop it is just to give Russia Ukraine. That's like stopping the Holocaust by just.
He wants to give them
Nazi...
a portion of Ukraine.
I just want to clarify. That's like stopping the Holocaust by just giving Nazi Germany all the means that they would need to finish their eradication of all Jewish individuals on Earth.
I mean, but the thing is, Russians aren't. If the war ended, they wouldn't be killing Ukrainians, and if they did, then that's a different story.
Yeah, because
However,
all the Ukrainians would either already be dead or pushed out of the region.
Well, I'm not a huge debater. I just wanted to express, come on here and express that me, along with 99.9% of every veteran, because I used to ask people all the time, and all of them would say, yeah, fuck Biden, fuck Kamala, we don't want her. Like, people joking about quitting if they go in office, and it's like, there's an outright
Hey, I have a quick question. Do you think that doctors would know anything about serving in the American military?
I mean, they could, yeah.
Okay, well, I guess that was a bad example because there's doctors in
Combat
the
medic.
military. Yeah. Let me ask you a better question. Do you think that a civil engineer would know anything about serving in the American military?
Yep, there's combat engineers.
A civil engineer that tests soil in the middle of Colorado. Would they know anything about what it's like to serve in the American military?
I mean,
I guess there's a lot of there's a lot of professions and industries in the military. I'm simply asking you about a career individual that operates on American soil outside of the military. Would they know anything about the military? Would a veterinarian working in the middle of California know anything about the experiences that you and your buddies have gone through serving in the American military?
Yes, we actually do have veterinarians as well in the military. There's jobs for everything. They all have to go through basic training, so yes.
Okay. I think that like you understand what I'm saying and you're just completely missing the point. Would a zookeeper?
I'm saying.
No, listen to me. No, you stop. Would a pastry chef working?
Okay.
Would a pastry chef? Would an interior designer? would an interior designer in Oklahoma know anything about serving in the American military?
You know, they do have designers for all the vehicles.
You know what I'm saying? An interior designer that's
You had
completely
me at
outside.
Zookeeper. Zookeeper, you had me at. You had me
Okay,
at
what does Zookeeper know anything about serving in the American military?
Probably not.
Okay,
But if
so
they're
then why
veteran-
should we expect somebody in the American military to know about politics? All that I'm
But the thing-
saying
but
is
the
that
thing
you
is-
have, one moment, Spud, you have your special interests that you know a lot about, okay? You know a lot about how to engage in combat scenarios, how to operate like pew-pews, how to shoot RPGs, and how to like scale a wall in under 30 seconds. And you're likely also probably very physically fit. And you could carry a backpack for a 10-mile hike, okay? Right? But none of like the special knowledge in which is required to be a service member in the American military, like necessarily implies that you won't therefore be ignorant to American politics, or you therefore will be knowledgeable of social issues, knowledgeable of economic policy, knowledgeable about governmental reform. So when you tell me that a lot of service members support Trump, that doesn't mean that Trump is better for service members. That just means that a lot of service members think that Trump is better for them. Okay? And the reason why the claim that Donald Trump is better for service members is false is because A, the Biden-Harris administration just simply did more for the American military. They passed the PACT Act, investing $800 million into the expansion of VA healthcare benefits, and passed the biggest pay increase since Bush. What the fuck did Trump do? And then secondly, it's because Donald Trump fights against everything you fight for. You fight to protect American civil liberties and freedoms. In 2020, Donald Trump fought to take the right to vote away from every single American when he tried to steal the election from Biden. You fight to protect free speech. Donald Trump fights to take that away by advocating for imprisonment for individuals that burn the American flag or calling media organizations illegal. In a more general sense, you fight for the Constitution. Donald Trump fights to take that away. On December of 2022, he literally called for its termination. Okay? So everything you fight for is something Trump fights against. So why the fuck would you support him if you're literally willing to put your life on the line to make sure he never succeeds?
Oh, sorry. Hello.
Hey.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Sorry, I think I cut off. I wanted to say I don't know what that pay increase, where it came from, but none of us saw any like. It was like $10. What the fuck is $10 and an increase gonna get us for a month? Like, come on. You know that we get paid shit in the military, and that's fine. That's fine. You know. But the grand majority of the fighting force of America supports Trump, at least from my experience. And I was in California. I was in Fort Irwin. You know where that is?
Man, can you please respond to this absence of my argument? I detailed very clearly how you fight for everything Trump fights against. Okay, and I'd like you to respond. I'd like you to respond.
I'm just like I said, dude. Like it's just like I don't believe Trump goes against it. Like I'm all for owning guns. I'm all for illegal immigrants.
I'm gonna give you my evidence. December 9th, 2022, Donald called for the termination of the American Constitution in a Truth Social post. 2 weeks ago, he called CNN and MSNBC illegal. In both of his campaigns, 2015 and 2024, he said that he wants to imprison people for burning the American flag. In 1978, the Supreme Court ruled that was protected by the First Amendment.
Yeah,
In
you don't
2020,
think
Donald Trump
American
installed
flag-
fake slates of electorates to try to coup the outcome of the 2020 election and rig the vote from all seven key swing states that Biden won to send votes to Congress saying that he won them, and they admitted to it in court. There's the evidence that he does stand against everything that you fight for.
First of all, I wanted to re-clarify this. You think burning the American flag is okay?
I said it's constitutional.
It's constitutionally okay. You think burning the flag of the country that you're living in is okay?
It's a conversation that is neither here nor there, and a complete pivot away from any substantive conversation.
Well, you just said it though. You literally just said it.
My position on the morality of burning the American flag does not matter in this conversation.
But you said it's under the Constitution. So if burning of the American flag is under the Constitution and protected as freedom of speech, I'm all for reformation of the Constitution. 100%. 100%. Why would you burn the flag of the country that you're living in and relying on. You know, I just don't agree with that. So yeah, if that's okay under the Constitution, maybe it does need a little bit of reformation.
Yeah. Okay. Well, first and foremost, I don't even know what you fought for at this point. I mean, I feel like I hear it all the time. Service members saying that they fight against tyrannical governments and they fight to defend our non-tyrannical democratic government. But now you're saying that it should be so bad that people should be able to go to jail if they want to protest their government, given they become tyrannical. I have a question. Isn't this exactly what the Second Amendment resembles? Is the idea that we should be able to bear arms and form militias to overthrow our tyrannical government if need be?
Yeah, but the thing is...
So I have a question. I have a question. So what constitutional right is more anti-American? Allowing citizens to kill their government if it's tyrannical, or allowing citizens to burn the government's flag if it's tyrannical?
I mean, I think all forms, no matter what side of burning the American flag, even if Biden was president, I still think burning the American flag is extremely wrong. I think...
Okay, you're just not even going to address the substance. Okay, do you fight to protect free and democratic elections in America?
I mean, yeah.
Okay, Donald Trump fights against that. No, wait. Donald Trump fights against that. He tried to coup the free and democratic election results in 2020 by stealing it from Biden. He sent fake slates of electorates to every single key swing state that Biden won, and he told them to send fake votes back to Congress saying that Trump won them, and then he pressured Mike Pence into certifying them as real, and he pressured the DOJ into falsely announcing widespread voter fraud, and they admitted to it all in court. So you just told me explicitly that you fight for something that Donald Trump fights against. That Donald Trump fights against. Explain it.
Well, like I said, maybe it's just straight off his personality. There's a lot of people that like him, regardless of
No, stop. Be very specific in your explanation.
Hey,
you
man,
explicitly vocalize something you fight for, and I was able to explicitly vocalize how Donald Trump fights against it. This shows that Donald Trump doesn't stand with you.
Even if he doesn't...
You are willing to literally lose your life and die to protect free and democratic American elections, but then you support the president that launched the biggest internal attack on free and democratic American elections since the Civil War?
Well, I mean, like I said, I feel like Kamala, and there's another big thing about Kamala Harris. I don't want
to hear about Kamala Harris. I want to hear about why you support a president that is trying to end something that you will literally die to protect.
I can't take the heat. Let's move on to the next one. All right. Kamala, I don't think she would be good for the country. And whatever. Fucking Kamala Harris, whatever. I don't think she would be good for the country. All right, man. You gonna let me talk?
Let's call her Harris.
I don't think the rest of the world is ready for a female to be in power of a big country like that. Like, look, 66% of the world women do not have the same rights as men. So how do you think other countries are going to react globally if we have a female as president? And I'm not sexist. I'm just saying the rest of the world is.
So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to tell you why you're wrong in 2 sentences, and you're going to contradict yourself, and then you're just going to brush it off like it never happened. Are you ready?
All right.
Is a significant portion of countries outside of America, are they like pretty like racist? Is there a lot of anti-black racism that exists on the global stage?
There's racism in all countries.
So does that mean that nobody should have voted for Obama because the rest of the world wasn't ready for a black president?
No, there are black presidents all in Africa. I think Greenland and Denmark have female presidents, but that's about it.
Okay. So this is kind of like an example of the contradictory logic, because you're saying that sexism is prevalent in other countries, just like anti-black racism is prevalent in other countries. And by the way, you forgot like Mexico, New Zealand, the UK, a couple other, it doesn't matter. But anyways, here's my point. If you would say that therefore the world is not ready for a leader that's a woman, This would also imply that the world would not be ready for a leader that's black. However, you obviously reject that, like any
But
semi-rational person would be. Also, I have a question. Do you think that a lot of ableism exists on the global stage insofar as the world not being ready for a leader that, let's say, uses a wheelchair?
Ableism. I mean, it kind of depends if it's like dementia or something like that, like Biden had, whatever.
Like Biden didn't have dementia, but like I'm talking about somebody that would maybe use a wheelchair.
A wheelchair, yeah, that's fine. I think they would, as long as they're, and is it president of this country
So
or
do you think that the rest of the, like, there's very prevalent ableism in the rest of the world? Like people would view somebody that would say use a wheelchair as somebody that is less likely to be able to be good at leading.
I don't think having a wheelchair has any effect on how you're able to lead. No.
Oh, you just took your mask off. You just exposed the fuck out of yourself. Wow, that was the craziest unintentional Freudian slip ever, because now you've changed the conversation from saying that you don't think that we are ready for a president that's a woman because other countries may not think that women are good at leading. And you've now shifted the conversation to saying that you wouldn't mind a disabled president because you don't think being disabled impedes upon your ability to lead. So why does being a woman impede upon your ability
Because
to lead?
in a lot of other countries, they're not allowed. They don't have the same rights as men. So imagine a woman coming to the table for diplomatic concerns and trying to express. She wouldn't be taken serious at the end of the day. I don't think she'd be taken serious.
Hey man, I'm gonna just go ahead and just be honest with you, because obviously you're unwilling to engage with any of the prior arguments I've given you, and you're being incredibly bad faith. Anybody that's standing in front of a country with the world's largest GDP, the world's biggest consumer base that accounts for 30% of global commerce, that also stands in front of the world's largest military by over a factor of 2, will be forced to be taken seriously by the leadership of every other country on earth if they want to fucking swim and stay alive. So it is the case that if we had a woman leading our country, misogynistic world leaders would be forced to take her seriously if they want to function in the global economy. If they want to stay alive, they will have to bow the knee to the world's largest fucking company, and that's the world's largest fucking government, and that's a fact. So when you're saying that other world leaders want to take her seriously, okay, well if they don't, they lose, we win, right? They'd be forced to take anybody running our country seriously, and like, hey, that's a big reason like why a lot of other countries are very scared of Trump now, because like Donald Trump is a fucking bully that they have to take seriously, because this bully's in charge of the world's largest fucking economy, the world's largest military, the world's most richest country, right? But the same thing would be true of a woman, okay? Right? So when you tell me that a woman would be less effective at running our country because other world leaders wouldn't take her seriously, it's absolutely wrong, A, because more world leaders respected Kamala Harris than world leaders that respect Trump, and B, they'd be forced to take her seriously because she would be standing in front of the world's largest economy, biggest military, and richest country on the face of this planet. Right? But I just want to let you know, this is just another reflection of sexism and of misogyny. In fact, you are advocating for an intentional glass ceiling for all American women and girls. By saying that you didn't vote for Harris because she's a woman, you're saying that women shouldn't lead, point blank, period. You're saying that if you're a woman, regardless of what your accomplishments are, regardless of how many degrees you have, regardless of how many years you've spent in public offices, regardless of your abilities, knowledge, intellect, know-how, personal ability, etc., you should never be able to become president. And there's a brick ceiling that exists between you and that position because of your gender identity, because of what's in between your legs. Okay? And that's disgusting.
Like I said, that's not the only reason I didn't vote for Kamala.
Her name is Kamala. Pronounce her name right.
Kamala. Okay,
great.
Fine.
And then also, once again, just to prove you wrong, more world leaders respect Harris than those that respect Trump.
Really?
Honestly, I bet every single one of those misogynistic world leaders would actually prefer Harris was our president right now compared to Trump.
Wasn't she the emissary before the Ukrainian and Russian war started? Wasn't she sent as the emissary, and then a day later they started bombing each other?
Who did she meet with?
She met with Putin.
That's not true.
Or Zelensky, one of them.
That's just simply not true. So like, see, the issue here is that you just like straight up like spread blatant misinformation and propaganda. So what you're saying is wrong. No.
Well, and regardless of that, she's weird, dude. Like she had a different accent for every rally she went to. Like she's just trying too hard, too hard. She's just trying, and I think it was weird, and I don't think many people could take her serious as she's doing stuff like that, you know. And you can't deny the fact that she changed her accent at every fucking rally. You can't.
Hey man, I have a question. Do you know what AAV is?
Who?
Who? Do you know what African American Vernacular English is?
No.
Okay. So AAVE is a dialect or vernacular of English, right? In which is very predominant amongst Black Americans, and the historicity relates to the transatlantic slave trade and the existence of Black individuals in America today, okay? And historically. Now, AAVE is very stigmatized by white Americans today and has been also historically stigmatized by white Americans, okay? Right? White Americans like to call AAVE, quote unquote, ghetto. They like to call AAVE, quote unquote, uneducated. They like to look at Black individuals who speak in this perfectly valid vernacular, just as valid as one in which I'm speaking in or you're speaking in, and they like to say that it's wrong, okay? So the way that Black individuals that speak in AAVE have responded to this is to code switch. What does code switching mean? It means that they will speak in AAVE in front of people who they don't think will stigmatize them for it. But when they're in front of a predominantly white audience who they know will stigmatize them for it, they will not speak in AAVE. So when you're telling me that Kamala Harris has spoken in different accents at different rallies, well, in the rally in which I believe there's clips of her speaking in AAVE, she had a more predominantly Black audience who she knew would not stigmatize her for speaking in AAVE compared to the predominantly white America that would look at her speaking in AAVE and say that she is less educated, say that she's ghetto, say that she is dumb. All right? And it's actually funny because you are perpetuating other racist implications inside of the same circle right now. You're saying, oh, she spoke in AAVE. Well, that means that she was a less qualified candidate. Oh, she code switched. Well, that's something bad that she did, which is exactly why code switching exists in the first place.
So you're saying it's an intentional kind of thing, right?
I mean, well, honestly, it can be intentional.
It was.
You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and reserve myself. I'm a white guy. My best inference is it can be intentional. It could also be unintentional. But I don't know because I am white.
Yeah, like I said, it was intentional, and she was doing that to try and swing votes of certain crowds, which I don't even know why she was doing that. Everyone that attended her rally was more than likely already going to vote for her, so I don't know why she was trying to swing votes by changing her accent. It's kind of weird.
Oh my fucking God. Thank you for the galaxy. Dude, you're just going into that same shit once again. I mean, I don't know. It's just so gross, dude. It's like I give you a perfectly valid, kind-hearted, calm explanation. It goes right over your head, and the next thing you're saying is calling it fucking weird. Hey, you know what I think is weird? Raping Eugene Carroll. You know what I think is weird? Advocating for a permanent shutdown of all new Muslims entering into America. You know what I think is weird? Imposing countries on the rest of the planet fucking Earth, starting crashes in American stock markets, evaporating $4 to $5 trillion in thin air, and barreling America towards a recession. You know what I think is weird? Saying that you could racially profile immigrants, saying that they're good or bad based upon the way that they look, or saying that we should forcefully expel 2.1 million Palestinians from the Gaza Strip, or advocating for economic policy in which redistributes wealth from the poor to the rich. But apparently you don't think any of those things are weird. You think that MAGA is patriotic, fighting for this country, but the World War III when a Black woman code switches, that's what I think is weird, Spud.
Well, like I said, at the end of the day, more Republicans are in the military than Democrats. So if it came down
Evan,
to
thank
it,
you so much for the galaxy.
Republicans would be the ones fighting the wars, not Democrats. Like I said, I've seen one Democrat. One. That's it. That's literally it.
Hey,
And everyone else
can you hear me okay?
Yeah. What's going on, Santan? I appreciate you for being here. You do have a little bit of a bad connection. I thought I'd make that one clear. And then also you're saying that at the end of the day, a lot of the people in the military are Republicans who will be fighting our wars. So, I mean, all that tells me is at the end of the day, it's going to be the Republican service members that don't fight the largest internal threat on our democracy since the Civil War, contradicting every single reason or motive that you could try to describe to me insofar as why you're serving in the first place.
But why don't Democrats feel an urge of patriotism to go in the military and go serve? Why?
Oh my fucking god!
Why didn't you?
Wait. No,
Why?
it's that the beliefs are more accepted inside of the military to be a Republican.
But that's not
Like
true.
yes, it absolutely is. I come from a Republican county. Okay, it is significantly more promoted to be a Republican in Mesa County where I live. Many individuals who are born here are either indoctrinated into these beliefs, or have their beliefs switched over time because of the socialization of their popularity. That's also gonna be true of like service members. They either already had those beliefs prior to serving in the military, or they're indoctrinated into them while they're in the military. But I want to let you know that no fucking service member that supports Trump is a patriot to this country. So when you said, why do Republicans feel more of an urge to be patriotic? They don't, because it's not patriotic to be a service member that supports Trump, because you take an oath to protect and uphold the Constitution, but then you turn around, bow the knee, and suck on the ring of a guy who explicitly called for its termination and tried to coup the outcome of a federal election.
First of all, I've never been really patriotic.
Exactly. Thank you. Wait, stop the sentence now. You've never been patriotic, point blank, period.
Until Biden came in, was our president, and I was in the Marine Corps currently, and just seeing clips of him, and then not only that, there is a clip of Kamala saying that she's pulled every service member from every.
I'm just gonna let real quick, Santana. I saw your text. You just said that your connection was bad. Do you want to try just to like? Okay, he dropped. Okay. Santana, feel free to re-request if you could, like, if you just want to try out the connection that you have, or if you're in a zone with better connection. I would love for you to come up here. I would love it. I'd love it so much. Her name is pronounced Kamala Harris. You can't pronounce words, bro?
Hello.
Hey, man. Her name's pronounced Kamala.
Okay. Anyways, like I was saying,
I just want to clarify, you can't pronounce words?
like I have an accent. Sorry about that. Are you making fun of my accent now, Dean?
Oh, wow. Yeah, the guy with half of his
no,
family...
I'm saying, you talk about all this AOE, now you're calling me out.
AOE?
When you said
please get a third grade education. A Southern accent does not prevent you from pronouncing Kamala Harris's name right. I'll do it right now. I'm Dean Withers, and I'm a Southern son of a bitch, and I voted for Kamala Harris. Wow. Spoken like a true Southern patriot. Isn't that right? Yeehaw. Feel free to unmute.
Okay, you done now?
I mean, I just want to make sure that you could pronounce words correctly. That's all.
It's my accent, Dean.
It's not. It's not your... Dude, I literally corrected you on it
You
earlier.
just got
and you
done
pronounced
talking
it right
about.
one time.
You just got done defending Kamala about her accents at different rallies.
Unironically, this has nothing to do with the accent that you're speaking in. Say comma.
Comma.
Then say la.
La.
Then put those two words together.
Kamala.
Comma.
I'm just messing with you.
Exactly. It has nothing to do with your fucking accent, you piece of shit.
All right, but anyways, like I was saying, at the end of the day, regardless if it's considered patriotism or not, the people that enter the service are, and like I said, look, first of all, like I said, I was never patriotic until Biden was the president. Never. I just do what I'm told, you know.
Hey, well,
and then I just started.
Just real quick, you're no longer a valuable person to have on my live stream. What do you do to a soccer ball? Oh God, you don't even know? You don't even know what you do with the soccer ball?
You kick it.
That you do. That you do. You do kick it, Spud. Moving on. All right. Here we go, everyone. Holy fucking shit. That guy was really annoying.
What's up, bro?
That guy annoyed the shit out of me, chat.
Yeah, he was fucking irritating.
For real, Drew. He was. Do you support Trump?
Awesome. I don't.
Oh, okay.
Hey, real quick.
No, I'm sorry. We are just looking to debate individuals that do support the president. Yo, if you guys are in the queue, make sure that you support Trump. We're going to get you up here for a conversation. So, dude, just go ahead and give us a minute and spam MAGA down below in that chat right now. We got Norsewood loading up, you guys, so everyone just give us a minute. I would like to say, Winnie, thank you so much for the $20 super chat over on YouTube. While we're getting our next guest up here, guys, this guy's driving, so we got to kick him. Please, 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 please spam W Winnie down below in the chat for the $20. That is so incredibly kind. Winnie says, nutty thing to say. I'm a trained opera singer with some awesome diction in a few languages. I speak the California Valley Girl from time to time. The argument would discredit Harris because she has accents is ridiculous. Well, I mean, it's not even like accents. I mean, that's more of like, I'd say like just a very like common misunderstanding. Like AV is not an accent; it's a dialect. But I mean, it's definitely a little bit more of an in-depth conversation. What's going on, Kimmy? Do you support Trump?
Can I ask a question about Trump?
Preferably ask it in my Discord, and I bet that I or other people in the Discord would love to answer. But we're gonna move on to the next guest here. But that's awesome, Winnie. I didn't know that you're a opera singer. That's so cool. We're gonna get the next guest. You guys go ahead and just spam MAGA down below in that chat if you do want to come up and join. It looks like there's not a lot of Trump supporters that do want to come up here and join. A little bit scared, quite frankly. We got Become the Man loading in. I'd also like to thank Mr. Seaman for the $2 over on YouTube Super Chats. Riley with a 5, thank you so much. Vanity Girl with a 2. RJ with a 2. Creighton with a 5. And then Howard, thank you so much for the $25 over on YouTube Super Chat as well. Everybody show some love to Winnie and Howard down below in that chat. What is going on? Become the Man. Do you support Trump?
Yeah, I do support Trump.
You didn't become the man. You became the boy.
Well, how did I become the boy?
Because men don't support Trump. Only boys support Trump.
Men do support Trump. Men do support Trump.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on the tariffs?
I
want to know.
Don't like them, quite frankly.
Why not?
Oh, I hear British accent in you. What time is it?
What time is it here? It's almost 12.
12. Okay, yeah. Well, we are only looking to talk to individuals that are American, you guys. So if you are spamming MAGA, double in that chat. Make sure that you're American, you're at least 18, and you support the president. We're going to move on to the next guest. RJ, thank you so much for the $10 over on YouTube Super Chat as well. Everybody show some love to RJ and Amber. Amber also with the $10, and Teal with the $10, and James with the $10. Holy crap, you guys. Thank you all so much for the love. And then, oh my God, Sid with a $100 super chat over on YouTube. Let's get at least 1,000 W Sids. At least 1,000 W Sids. Sid says, my Venmo's officially believes that I'm impersonating myself, so L YouTube for taking half the money and L Venmo for hating on me. Bro, dude, Venmo brings that hammer down hard, dude. I'm not going to lie. Venmo sucks sometimes, man. And then also Sandra with a $10 over on Venmo, Steven with a $10. And then Shara, thank you so much for the $25 donation on Venmo. Say never back down, Dean. And I never will. Thank you so much for the love, Shara. And then Josh with a $1 over on Venmo. And yeah, we're going to get our next guest up in the box. You guys go back to spamming MAGA down below in that comment section if you do want to come up and debate. We're going to go ahead and get that next guest up in the live literally right now, quite frankly. And also, on top of that, if you want to support me, you can find my Venmo, my PayPal, and the link tree in the bio, as well as you can find them in the pinned message over on YouTube. I really do appreciate everyone so much for the love today. But if you are one of the 5.6 thousand people watching the stream, guys, make sure that we're double tapping while we get that next guest up in here. It is very hard to find anybody that is willing to come up here and have a conversation. Michelle, good to see you. Thank you for the galaxies. And thank you for the Venmo earlier. Thank you, Michelle. All right, everyone. Wow. We are just not finding debates. That is really unfortunate, dude. What's going on? Do you support Trump?
Yo, what's up? Would you rather have unlimited?
All right, moving on to the next guest. Here we go. We are just still looking for the next guest, dude, and it is rough. Not a lot of Trump supporters wanting to come up here and debate us with 5.6 thousand people in the live, man. Wow. Next guest is loading up right now. What's up, Low Freddy? Do you support Trump?
Yeah, I support Trump.
You do? Phenomenal. Yo, King Trump, do you support Trump?
Yes, I do.
Okay, King Trump, can you stop playing with your Legos?
So I was actually going outside. Roommate's being quite loud.
Great. I have a question. Do you have like any type of like Bluetooth device connected that's making your mic really shit, or is that just coming straight from the phone?
It's Bluetooth. My phone mic stopped working.
Okay, I guess this will have to do. So, sir, why do you support like the worst president of your life?
I really support the fact that he was giving us the tariffs and everything, gave us the stock market tips.
Ah, yeah. So you think that intentionally crashing the stock market is a good thing, right?
So I would say that he dropped it. That way we could sit there and buy into the stocks during the drop, because he immediately took the tariffs off.
So he's just manipulating the
after
market.
telling us.
He was just manipulating the
Yeah.
market.
So I was
Andrew,
okay
thank
with
you for
it
the
when
$10
Martha
over on
Stewart did
PayPal. I
it.
do appreciate you for the love. Thank you.
Yeah, I was okay when Martha Stewart did it. So it'd be a little weird to all of a sudden have an issue when he does it.
I think that insider trading is always wrong.
So I would have to disagree on that one. If it's making people money, like,
I think that
what's the
Martha
big
Stewart
deal?
went to prison. Should Trump go to prison?
So again, I was okay with it at the time that she did it. So if I didn't think she should go, why should I think that he should go?
Okay, so you're just okay with insider. So you just want more insider trading.
Yeah, I would say that that's a big part of it. But I also was okay with several other things that he's done. Not the border. The border I disagree with. But like, I agree with the whole Ukraine thing. Why should we keep sending money to them?
1 second. I mean, you just told me that you're okay with Donald Trump intentionally crashing the stock market with policy that's also barreling us towards a recession. I mean, that's already evaporated trillions of dollars off of the market caps of these huge companies, and will continue to decrease GDP growth and performance in the stock markets, billions and billions, if not trillions of dollars. Well, we were only sending $32 billion per year to Ukraine. So how come you care about $32 billion per year to support humanitarian causes, but then trillions of dollars per year to support insider trading is a good thing?
Well, so with the Ukraine thing, I feel like we should be siding with the winner.
Okay. So, I mean, I feel like external influence determines who the winner is.
Well, yeah, but I mean, if we left Russia to face them by themselves, then Russia would have won.
Okay, and
the only reason
if we left
Ukraine
UK to face Nazi Germany by themselves, Nazi Germany would have won.
Well, probably.
So should we have sided with a winner there too? Should we have sided with Nazi Germany?
That one's a little more difficult.
Oh, wow. Why?
Because that wasn't Trump.
Oh, okay. So it's okay when Trump, anything Trump does is essentially okay. Like if Trump woke up tomorrow and he was like, "Hey, man, we're gonna go out and send $100 billion to Ukraine," like you'd support that.
So that part, no, because again, I'm not okay with the, with the Ukraine aspect.
So then it's not Trump. I mean, seemingly you hold some red lines here. So why does your logic change on supporting the quote unquote winner between Russia and Nazi Germany?
I guess it would be that I have to actually deal with the consequences now.
What consequences are you dealing of from what?
So like, if like I didn't have to deal with Germany, like that wasn't my stuff. I wasn't alive for it. I didn't have to deal with it. I have to deal with Russia.
If you were alive during World War II, would you support America entering into World War II on the European front to combat Nazi Germany?
I would have to say it would depend on what Trump wanted to do with it.
If Trump didn't want to do
I wasn't really I don't think
exactly.
FDR was good.
It would depend on what. So if Trump was president during World War II and Trump didn't want to fight Nazi Germany, what would you think?
So I would, morally, I would be against it, but I would just go with whatever he said, to be honest, on that one.
Okay. So do you self-identify as a member of a cult?
I would say both sides are cults.
So you do self-identify as a member of a cult, correct?
I would say both sides are cults.
So that means that you're in a cult because you're on one of the two sides. So you self-identify as a member of a cult, correct?
Yeah, I guess.
Okay, so say it. Say, I identify as a cult member.
Oh, I would definitely say, as MAGA, we are cultists.
Hey, man, you're a sheep. I nothing more to say. You're just like an NPC. Like, you know, like those motherfuckers that run around in like GTA?
I mean, I would say that we're all kind of sheep.
No. Like, no. You're like a GTA NPC. We're gonna go and kick the NPC and move on to the next guest. I mean, how could you guys seriously like expect me to like I don't know. Am I gonna take that seriously? I self-identify as a cult member. Am I gonna, dude? Unbelievable. Rita, thank you so much for the $15 donation over on PayPal while we're getting our next guest Up in the box, thank you so much for the love, Rita. That is so incredibly kind of you. Everyone show some love to Rita. That is RITA. Also, Kelly with a $5, Andrew with a 10, and then Lyric, thank you for the 5 as well. If you're watching and you want to support the stream, you can find me on Venmo and PayPal, link in the bio. Then also Sin, thank you for the $10 over on YouTube Super Chat. And Salio, thank you for the $20 saying this kid can't think of for himself. Unironically, he can't. Thank you for the love for the $20 Salio. That is SAILIO. And what is going on, MK? Do you support the president? MK, we're going to give you around 5 seconds here to unmute, and MK just dropped. See, I don't understand why people like hop in the queue just to come up here, mute, and drop. Like, please don't do that. We're going to move on to the next guest here. Everyone just got to give us a moment. Quite frankly, what's going on, Rap Quid? Do you support Trump?
Do that.
Move on to the next guest here. Everyone, it's a kid's
Hello?
I do apologize. We kicked them off super duper quickly. We got them off ASAP. TikTok terms of service ensures that I have to kick them off very, very quickly. So we kick them off very, very quickly, you guys. What's going on? Do you support Trump?
Yes, I do. I support his economic policy. Thank you for letting me in, by the way. I appreciate your time. But I just wanted to hear your argument against tariffs.
Okay. Well, before I give you my argument against tariffs, what specific economic policy of his do you support and why?
I support tariffs because I think that the situation we have with Chinese manufacturing and how they're kind of subsidizing our consumer economy is unsustainable. And I think it's dangerous to kind of be reliant on Chinese consumer goods, especially with the quality they're made in.
Okay. So you're saying that we need tariffs on China. Thank you for the justification of 1/170th of his tariffs. Now justify tariffs on every other country. And then I'll tell you and explain why you're wrong about tariffs on China. We can
Okay,
get there.
I don't
But first, I want to hear about the blanket tariffs on every single country.
So I don't necessarily agree with the blanket tariffs, but I do think that American economic self-determination.
Okay,
is
so you
important. I
only
don't believe in
support his tariffs on
autonomy.
China?
Yes, I support his tariffs on China.
Okay, so the Biden-Harris administration had tariffs on China.
Good for the Biden-Harris administration.
So then
I
why did you?
voted for Biden.
So if both candidates had some tariffs on China, why would you vote for Donald Trump over Kamala Harris, knowing that Donald Trump's outcome would be significantly worse than her own? Because not only did he support some tariffs on China, but also tariffs on every other country in the world.
Well, I don't necessarily disagree with him supporting tariffs on every other country in the world
I just
because,
thought you said
again,
that they're bad.
I don't think that they're bad. I think
they're
that the way
good?
he implemented them were bad.
Oh, so then you disagree with him.
Huh. I disagree with the way he implemented them, but I agree with the China tariffs.
Oh, so once again, you only agree with the Chinese tariffs, which Kamala Harris also ran on, which I
Yes,
disagree with. But this
sorry,
means
can I-
that Kamala
can I
Harris was a better
start this?
candidate than Donald Trump because they both had the Chinese tariffs that you agree with, but he also had tariffs on every other country in the world, which has sent America towards a recession and cut trillions of
Yes,
dollars off of U.S.
so-
markets, which made Kamala Harris a better candidate in the context of your own beliefs.
So as I was trying to say, I don't agree with how he implemented tariffs on the other countries, but I do believe that he went about implementing Chinese tariffs correctly.
One
That was
second.
my point.
Do you have reposts about SA and 14-year-olds?
No.
Okay, well,
Do I?
I'm seeing I've seen 2 comments about it so far. I say that we check it out.
Okay.
Give me just 1 second, you guys.
All right.
Yeah. We're just gonna kick you. Your reposts
What?
are really weird. Yeah, those reposts are crazy. He also has like racist reposts too. He has a repost saying that like black people steal like children's Halloween candy. We're just gonna move on to the next guest. Everyone just gonna give us a minute to get the next guest up in here. He's like reposts about like babies too. Yeah, like essay and children with R. Kelly. All right. Everyone just gonna give us a minute, guys. If you're MAGA, just let me know on that channel. I'll get you up here. Hey, Darby, I appreciate you for the $5 donation over on Venmo. Thank you so much, Darby, saying you're amazing. I do appreciate you so much for the love. All right, guys. Everyone just gonna give us a minute. All right. You guys, we're just looking for that next Trump supporter. It is really hard to find one. We got Sergio loading into the box. What's going on? Do you support Trump?
Yes.
Okay. So why do you support the worst president of your life?
If Trump didn't exist, no one would know who the fuck you are.
Well, that's not true.
What would you be doing right now if it wasn't for Trump?
I'd be debating social issues. You understand that I had a career in content creation on the internet prior to when I debated politics.
That's great, but the reason you're blown up right now is because of Trump. All you do is talk about Trump.
Well, all I do is I talk about what's wrong in our country, and Trump just so happens to be 99% of it.
Right. Yeah. So, anyways, my point is, no one would give a fuck about you if it wasn't for Trump. So you should thank him.
You know, I think in a sense, I don't owe a thanks to Trump for anything. In fact, I think
you do. He's the reason anyone knows who you are.
Okay, Sergio. So why did you vote for him, you angry little boy with no emotional regulation that is jealous of the success that I have because I'm really good at demonstrating how bad your king is?
I'm jealous of you.
Of course you're jealous of me. I'm literally so fucking good at describing with very clear language exactly how bad your king is. It just pisses you off. And like honestly, you're saying if Trump didn't exist, nobody would know who Dean is? Holy fucking shit. That would be great. Dude, if I didn't have to come on here for 4 hours every single day and try to convince half of our fucking country that they support a lunatic, senile narcissist, and nobody knew who I was, and I was just fucking frolicking in the grass, that would be phenomenal, dude. But I mean, unfortunately, here I am to tell you and everybody else why you have absolutely no good reason to support the guy you do.
I'm so jealous of you. I'm jealous of you.
I appreciate you for being open about it.
I wish I had your life.
One of the first steps of coming to terms with different things is admitting it. So you're doing good, but tell us why you support Trump.
I'm admitting that I'm jealous of you. Your life is amazing. What's your advice on how to have a cool life like you?
Well, I mean, probably start like supporting resistance movements against fascists, authoritarian, losers, senile narcissists.
What about the haircut? Where do you get those at? I like that too.
No, well, I'm not going to tell you where I get my haircut done. Now, do you want to continue to talk about how much you're in love with me, or do you want to talk about Trump?
Why don't you want to tell me where you got your haircut done? I like it.
That's why would I?
Because it looks sick.
Okay, I have like my own barber. He's pretty cool local.
Yeah. What does he like? What do you ask him for? Just a bowl cut, or what do you ask him for? I like it. It
depends on the day. Some days I'll do a bowl cut. Some days I won't. Robinson, thank you so much for the $20. Shut up one moment. Robinson with the $20 donation over on YouTube Super Chat. Son, I actually despise how these MAGA cultists sit there and defend blatantly bad things. Every day it gets worse, and I wonder what their breaking point will be. They don't have breaking points. There's no such thing as a red line for Trump supporters. Thank you so much for the love, Robinson. Yo, real quick, Sergio, could you please thank Robinson for their $20 donation?
Thank you, Robinson.
Good boy. So why do you support the president?
I support you. I think you're awesome.
Okay. I mean,
you're awesome.
Not the first incorrect statement you've said on the live, but
I
just want to clarify that you're not here for a debate, right?
Well, no, I wanted to tell you that I regret my vote because you made me change my mind because of how awesome you are.
Oh man, that's awesome. I'm really glad to hear that you agree.
Yeah, I regret my vote because he said he was going to take away my rights, and everyone said that, but he didn't, because I identify as a woman, and he said that he would take away women's rights, and everyone said that women's rights would be taken away, and they haven't been taken away yet. So I don't like him anymore.
Okay, real quick. What's a woman?
A woman is me. I'm a woman.
Okay, so let me guess. Are you like, so you're the only woman alive? Because if you're defined woman as Sergio, that just means that the only woman alive is you?
No, it doesn't. I am an example of a woman.
Okay, well, I didn't ask you for an example. I asked you for a definition.
Why do you need a definition? Do you not know what it is?
Oh, well, I'm asking. Well, so you're saying if I ask you for a definition of a term, that must mean that I don't have one myself. Without superimposing false statements in my view, I'm just gonna ask you.
I'm sure.
To define what a woman is. But anyways, no, you're not a woman. We don't have time for this. You're a man. I like. What's that?
Don't misgender me.
Buddy, you think that I give a fuck about your troll? Like, I mean, it's just mass transphobia. Like, I don't. You're not a woman. You're not a woman. You're a man. You're a man. You're a man. You're a man. Listen. The way that I define woman does not include you, because you do not have the agenda. You do not have the gender identity of a woman. Okay, just gonna continue to waste my time.
Don't misgender me.
I thought that it was the right that was okay with misgendering people, but now we have somebody on the right complaining about it.
Can you not misgender me?
So I am correctly gendering you by calling you a man.
Why? How do you know I'm a man?
Why? Because that is your gender identity.
What's a man?
What's a man? I'm unwilling to go into a conversation with you about what I think a man and a woman is. A, because TikTok restricts the conversations, and B, this is just like your way to troll. So Sergio, I'm just gonna go ahead and be blatantly clear with you. You support Trump. You're coming up here to waste my time. I understand that you want your 5 minutes of fame, and I think you have to stoop so fucking low to get that 5 minutes of fame from a liberal that denies everything you believe. But at the same time, it's pretty fucking ironic because it demonstrates how attention deprived you are, because you likely treat everybody in your own interpersonal life the same way you're treating me right now. But I'm going to give you one last opportunity to tell us why you support Trump. If you're unable to do so, we're just going to assume that you're willfully ignorant. You do not substantiate your beliefs with any evidence, and you're complete and total waste of time. In fact, I'm an environmentalist, and I think that the breaths you're exhausting when you speak when you're speaking language to me right now is just useless, baseless carbon emissions that we should probably get rid of, meaning I have good reason to kick you off the live. So go ahead and just give it one last opportunity to tell us why you support Trump, or I'm just going to move on, man. It's very simple. But I would suggest you act your age, and you actually try to demonstrate the right and a light that you want it to be. Because when you come up here representing MAGA and you're just like, oh, I'm a cisgendered man who's going to say that I'm a woman to try to own the libs and tell the Dean that he has a bowl cut and say that Dean would only be relevant if Trump, because of Trump, like you're just affirming everything that the left says about the right. Like the left says the right's weird. You're affirming that one for sure. The left says the rights are like bullies. You're affirming that one for sure. The left says the right is willfully ignorant. You're affirming that one for sure. You're assuming that the left says the right is uneducated. You're fulfilling that one for sure. So do you want to continue to affirm everything that the left says, or are you actually going to give me an argument?
Deep breaths. Did you just read that off? Did you read that off ChatGPT or something? That was a lot. Wow.
No, I didn't read ChatGPT, Sergio. Yeah. I read you.
Right. You just...
I didn't read ChatGPT, motherfucker. I read you.
Oh, you did. Yeah. Nice. So you can...
So I'm going to give you one last opportunity to tell us why you support Trump just before I kick you, man. I mean, I'm being so gracious here. I'm really extending my good faith to somebody that doesn't deserve it. And that's just because I'm a nice guy, Sergio.
You are a nice guy. You're a super nice guy.
So I'm going to give you one last opportunity to tell us why Donald Trump is a good president.
You're a super nice guy.
Sergio, if you cannot classify a reason why Donald Trump is a good president, I'm going to kick you from my live stream. I'm going to count down from 5 with my fingers. When my fingers hit 0, which will look like that, closed fist, you are going to be kicked if you have not begun to describe a reason why Donald Trump is a good president.
Do 10 instead. I can't count down to 5.
And moving on to the next guest. Let's go and see what Hunter has to say, everybody. We're going to go to get Hunter loaded up into the live. Everyone just going to give us a minute. Godzilla, thank you so much for the $2. Hey, what's going on, Hunter? Do you support Trump?
Yes, I do.
And why is that?
Well, I appreciate the Democrats' gun policies. I do think that they're trying to take my guns away. So there's that. And Kamala Harris, I don't think I could vote for someone that has a video that says that, how dare I say Merry Christmas. So I just...
What?
Kamala Harris has a video that says, how dare I say Merry Christmas to someone? And then, like, I think that's really weird to say, personally. I don't know if you've seen that. Yeah, I mean, I've seen it on TikTok multiple times. But I do not, I'm a Republican for the most part. I mean, there's some things on the Democrats I agree with, and there's some things on the Republicans, so I'm just...
So, I mean, it took me, like, 1 second. I'm going to go ahead and, like, finish here. It took me, like, 10 seconds to search this up on Google, and I'll actually like have you know that what I'm going to start reading is off of Fox News. Okay, so let's read it together.
Go ahead.
It says, then Senator Kamala Harris in 2017 warned Americans to not say Merry Christmas until there was a permanent status for some undocumented migrants. Okay, with reading one sentence of context, all of a sudden makes total fucking sense to me. The day was Christmas. People were saying the day was merry. The day was anything but merry because there was millions of individuals in our country that were being denied basic human rights due process and were being exploited by the American government. So that makes sense to me, man. But I mean, if you think her saying that we should advocate for a good quality of life for more people before we say Merry Christmas in a very like hyperbolic sense is a bad thing, you must think that Donald Trump raping a woman or calling for the exclusion of all new Muslims coming into America is like the worst thing ever, right?
I mean, that was civilly. It wasn't like, I mean, I wasn't there to see him rape that lady, so I can't. You don't know that, and I don't know that he really did. So
wait,
we won't ever know.
Yeah, you weren't there, therefore you don't know. You just got done telling us that you're a Christian, right?
No, I'm not religious.
So then why would you care if she says, "How dare you say Merry Christmas"?
I just think it's weird to say like something like that. Don't you think it's weird to say that? Like, I mean,
I
that's
wait,
just
I,
like a
wait.
saying. Like
I
you
have a
like
question.
okay, let's say it's
It's
Christmas. You
weird.
come over to my
I
house.
explained to you why it's not weird. But anyways, so real quick, is Epstein guilty? Just unmute your mic real quick, Connor. Is Epstein guilty?
Yeah, probably.
So
I
you were
wasn't there,
there on
like
the
I said.
island, you sick
No,
freak?
I said I wasn't there.
No.
I
Oh,
said I
so
wasn't.
so you
Dude,
don't
see,
think Epstein is guilty?
see what
Then?
you do is you turn things around. You add
Exactly.
ifs to all these
Exactly. And that's
things.
exactly what I do. I mean, you said that we can never know if Donald Trump is guilty because you weren't there, but now you're saying that Epstein's guilty. So
I
you were
said
there on the
probably.
island.
Probably. I said probably. I don't know. I mean, you don't know. I don't know. I wasn't fucking there.
Oh, okay. So you think it's just as likely that Epstein is guilty as it is likely that Trump is guilty because you weren't there for either circumstances?
I think that there's a lot more evidence toward the Epstein versus Trump. Can you agree or disagree?
Well, I haven't studied the Epstein case, so I wouldn't know the evidence submitted inside of the criminal court. I want to ask you a question. Is OJ guilty?
I think so, yeah.
Name one piece of evidence submitted to the civil court that held OJ guilty.
It's just a personal opinion, man. I mean, I wasn't
so let
part
me
of the
get this
court
one
system.
straight.
I
So
mean,
there's
you're
two civil
obviously a
courts.
hater towards Trump.
So there's two civil courts, a civil court that held OJ civilly liable and a court that held Donald Trump civilly liable. As it relates to Donald Trump's civil court, you're like, you weren't there, therefore you can't know. Or like there's a lack of evidence, therefore you can't know. But then as it relates to OJ, you weren't there, but you do know. You can't name a single piece of evidence, but you do know. See how that's a direct double standard? Where you actually do accept the conclusions formed by civil courts, even when you don't know anything about the civil court or the evidence submitted and such, as present within your conclusion about OJ. But then about Donald Trump, I mean, you just remain willfully ignorant. You say that you weren't there, therefore you can't know, and you say there wasn't enough evidence, even though you've never looked at it. And you've also never looked at the evidence that was submitted to the OJ proceedings. But I mean, apparently you believe he's guilty. I mean, how do we feel about this, Mr. Hunter? Go ahead and use those brain cells to tell me the truth. MAGA wouldn't exist without hypocrisy, contradictions, and double standards at every single turn. Pointing out double standards in the beliefs of a true MAGA cultist is one of the easiest things known to mankind. Hunter, you have to click on that little picture of yourself. And click the icon of the mic and unmute yourself, Mr. Hunter. I'm really going to need you to click two buttons.
I mean, do you think
There
Casey
you
Anthony
go.
was guilty?
You figured it out, buddy.
I mean, we can go there. We can go there all day.
I don't even.
You think Casey Anthony was guilty? I mean, she
I
was
don't
in.
know
I mean,
who-
she was in court.
I don't know who Casey
You don't know who
Anthony
Casey
is.
Anthony is.
No.
That is literally wild.
I'm sorry. I mean, I'll happily do some research, but I don't know who she is.
She has a Netflix documentary, or I think it's Peacock actually, and she murdered her daughter.
Great. Well, I'll have to watch it. Oh, wait. Casey Anthony. Is that like one person that came back 20 years later and made a TikTok?
Yeah, that's her. Yeah, she's trying to be relevant.
Yeah, I think. I mean, I'm 20 years old. I wasn't super up to date with the proceedings, but yeah, she's totally guilty.
Okay, but she was found innocent in court. So why do you think she's guilty? But it doesn't fit your agenda. That's the problem. You're just a hater towards Trump. Anything that's negative that fits your agenda, you're just going to add ifs to every argument and then just spin it around.
Okay, so
It's okay,
also I want to clarify here. I don't think that she was found innocent. She was acquitted because of like what was the reason, chat? Like I forget the reason for the acquittal. Like once again, this was a very long time ago. But I like to clarify. I mean, you understand that this is just like describing like your hypocrisy even more than any of mine. Do you think Casey Anthony is guilty?
I think so, yeah.
So you're telling me that the lady that was found innocent, in your own words, in a civil court is guilty, but the man that was found guilty in a civil court is innocent. Here, I have a question. So basically, you're saying that the jury inside of the civil court that held Trump liable ruled incorrectly, right? They didn't have enough evidence to determine that he was guilty, correct?
I mean, it's a possibility that he's guilty. I don't know, and I don't know with the Casey Anthony. I don't know with the
Okay,
OJ. I mean, I wasn't there. I don't
wait,
know all
wait,
the
wait. You just
evidence.
told us
Like,
that you
it's
do
a
know about the OJ.
possibility, dude.
You did say that OJ was guilty.
I mean, I do know. I didn't like. I don't know like every little thing. I've seen documentaries.
But you said he was guilty, right?
And and all this. Jay, I think he's guilty. Yeah. I mean,
Name one piece of
I think
evidence a
Casey
jury
Anthony's
used to hold him.
guilty. I think Epstein's guilty.
Hey, name one piece of evidence a civil court used to hold OJ guilty.
Okay, so
can you?
So you want me? Say that again. Sorry. Yeah, sorry.
Name one piece of evidence
Say that
that
one more
the
time,
civil
please.
jury used to hold OJ guilty.
Okay, let's just use the example. The glove don't fit, so you must.
I'm
have
actually
whipped out
pretty
the
sure
thing.
that that's what got him got the criminal proceedings thrown out. I don't know if that was a piece of evidence inside of the civil proceedings.
So I think that there's they knew that the glove wasn't going to fit because there was blood on it and it dried up and shriveled.
So what was a piece of evidence inside of the civil
So
court?
I think there's that.
What was a piece of evidence inside of the civil court? Because I'm pretty sure that's why the criminal proceedings got thrown out. You don't know any. Okay, got it.
I mean, it's just opinion based, dude. I mean, it's
Listen,
just
Hunter,
opinion
I'm just gonna
based.
go ahead and
like,
be
I mean,
honest with you.
It's just
So
opinion. Like,
I think what this is it's just an example of willful ignorance. Okay, like typically speaking, if somebody's held civilly liable for something, if somebody's criminally convicted of something, we assume they're guilty unless there's evidence that would be presented to contradict the findings of the court. Okay, but I'm even okay with taking it one step further and saying that in order for us to assume their guilt, we need to evaluate the evidence as presented in the court for good reason insofar as why the jury ruled correctly, right? But I mean, you don't even hold yourself to that standard because you think that OJ is guilty and Trump's innocent, even though you know the same amount about OJ's case as you do about Trump's, right? So that right there is a double standard. And then I also just think it is unfucking precedented because there's a lot of other things that Trump has done that like we definitely know because of like video or like sound documentation, such as when he boasted to Howard Stern about walking into the changing rooms of half-naked teenage girls at Miss Teen USA to inspect them while they were naked, or when he hit on a 10-year-old girl walking up an escalator saying that he would date her in 10 years. And now those two statements alone are definitely things that a rapist would do, right? So, I mean, like, please tell me why you support Trump, even though he openly boasts about hitting on young girls at Miss Teen USA.
Yeah, I think that's weird, honestly. I mean, that's really weird. I mean, I'm not gonna. I mean, there's like I said, I don't agree with everything Trump does. There's not everything that I agree on both sides. Like I'm not just like a
So
Trump
then
supporter.
I just don't think you care. What do you?
I think that he runs a country better.
Okay,
I
really?
think that he would run a country better than Kamala.
Really, name one of Kamala Harris's policies that you thought was bad for America.
Okay, so like I said, I'm not a policy person.
Fucking great.
So
So
but
then
I'm
name
just
one of
gonna
his policies that you think
let
is
me
great
finish
for
this.
America.
I don't. Okay, so let's just bring up guns for example. Do you think that the Democrats would allow, or would they take all my guns away, or would they take AR-15s away, AK-47s, et cetera, et cetera?
Holy
Do
fucking
you
shit.
think
This
that
is
it's right?
the craziest pivot of all time. The answer is no. The answer is no. Hey, I have a question. Can you name any gun control passed under the Biden-Harris administration?
I don't. Like I said, I don't know that.
None.
But like I
none.
do. I have seen videos of Biden saying
None. And then also, can you name any gun control passed under the Trump administration?
Oh yeah, he banned bump stocks, which bump stocks are stupid.
Phenomenal.
Bump stocks are stupid.
So like
dude.
seemingly there's only gun control passed under Trump's administration, not Kamala Harris's. Now, one other thing, do you think that banning AR-15s is unconstitutional?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so then there would never be a ban on AR-15s passed by Kamala Harris's administration because it's unconstitutional, and right now the Supreme Court leans 6-3 conservatives to Democrats.
Yeah, but you literally have a video of Joe Biden saying you don't need this. Oh, just get a shotgun and shoot out his fucking window.
Wait, wait. First of all, Biden didn't run for president, and second of all, why would it matter? They want to be able to do anything. You think it's unconstitutional?
I don't think anybody should tell me what I can own, like gun wise. I mean, obviously, like I shouldn't be able to own like RPGs, et cetera.
So I just want to clarify: you'll literally prefer a president that destroys the American stock markets, destroys global markets, sends our country into recession over the.
Why do you think it's okay for other countries to take advantage of us?
I'm gonna go ahead and finish.
Okay, go ahead.
Jesus Christ, Hunter. So I just want to clarify that you think that somebody saying, hey man, I'm going to ban AR-15. I don't think that you should be able to own an AR-15, but according to you, it's unconstitutional, so the Supreme Court will never let that pass. That's worse than intentionally crashing the U.S. markets and sending America into a recession.
Okay, so I do not think that it's okay for other countries to take advantage of us.
Why are you pivoting?
No, I'm saying though, like he added the tariffs, and
Bro,
then all the
I know. I'm
Democrats.
asking you about a comparative advantage. You said that Trump was better than Harris because you think that Harris thought that we shouldn't be able to have AR-15s, but then you call it unconstitutional. And if you're right, that means it would never pass because there is 6 conservative Supreme Court justices and 3 liberals. So this means that you would prefer a candidate that intentionally crashes the stock market and sends America into a recession just because the other guy said that you probably shouldn't be able to own an AR-15, but they never be able to do anything about it.
Dude, I couldn't vote for Kamala off the simple base. She couldn't do like an interview without, reading a dialogue. Like that's just like, and then you have,
I just want to clarify that that's just like I don't even know where that comes from. Like it has to be like sexism, and the reason why I say that is because what happened.
I don't really care about color or race. I don't care. Somebody could be
I
purple.
am
and run for
talking. So
president.
real quick, what would be the best way to do a comparative analysis on which candidate was better at speaking between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump? Would you say putting them head to head, toe to toe in a debate that is unscripted is the best way of delineating who's better at speaking?
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay, so they did that, and guess what? Kamala Harris cooked Donald Trump so hard that Donald Trump went whining on Twitter, posting all the alt-right polls he could find saying that he won. Well, then he started accusing Kamala Harris of getting the questions beforehand and having a fucking earpiece in her ear to get to have like her advisors tell her what to say to him. She beat his ass so hard that he started coping. So if you think that it is the case, if you think it is the case, right, that she's just so bad at speaking, how come she absolutely whipped his ass in the debate? And now you're about to tell me, oh, Trump got fact-checked more than Kamala Harris? Oh, dude, use your 2 fucking teeny-weeny brain cells. Is it maybe because she was more likely to be wrong?
Hey,
Sorry,
what's
he
up,
was
Parker?
more likely to be wrong.
No, dude. So you're on one side. I'm on the other. That's why you think she won. That's really the only reason why. Dude, you was literally getting fact checked. I was there. I watched it live, just like you. But you're always going to be on her side, regardless of if she won or lost.
No, I think that she won.
You're a hater, dude.
So Hunter, the reason why I think that Kamala Harris won the debate was because she was able to significantly better describe her policy and her plans for America to the American people. And I don't mind going over exactly how. Like, for instance, during the debate, she was able to describe some healthcare policy that she possessed. Meanwhile, Donald Trump just merely said that he had concepts of a plan. She was able to say that she wanted to cap the amount of money that any American citizen could pay for private pharmaceutical drugs to $2,000 per year. And then he just said what? That he had fucking concepts. And then also as it related to long-term immigration policy, he was unable to clearly define anything that he actually wanted to do and just resulted back to his like one-liners of saying that we need to make America safe and get all the rapist MS-13 gang members out of our country. Meanwhile, she was able to describe what the bipartisan border bill was, how it's going to serve as some long-term solution by funding our courts on the southern border more to expedite legal claims of residency, citizenship, and asylum to reduce undocumented entry into our country in the long term. And then on the last base, it is the case that she just straight up was able to describe policy that he didn't have, such as housing affordability policy. She wanted to give every American citizen a $25,000 subsidy for first-time home buyers to buy newly developed properties. So we'd have cheaper houses now because of the subsidy, while having more houses built in the long term, meaning that house prices would also go down in the long term after the subsidy was out of effect. And like for those 3 simple reasons, I believe that Kamala Harris said.
I don't really think that was going to work because the housing market there's too much demand right now. If you start doing that, there'd be even more demand. They would just raise it by $25,000.
Okay, well then they wouldn't create new demand. See, that's the issue. Because when you say that the subsidy would have just increased the price of new houses by $25,000, well then there would be no new demand for new houses. Like just straight up. I mean, the subsidy would just null itself out. All of a sudden, nobody would be buying new houses. Nobody would be selling new houses for $25,000 additional. They would have to increase the price of new houses a little bit because of the additional artificial demand created by the subsidy. However, in order for the subsidy to work, in order for them to be able to use that additional demand to sell new houses that they're building, I'd have to be less than $25,000. So overall, the first-time home buyers would be saving. Then, of course, once the subsidy was released, the artificial demand would go down. So would the pricing of new houses because there's a reduction in demand, and there'd just be more houses built.
Also, not
So the
everyone who's
problem
buying
is,
new houses is
okay,
someone who's going
I'll
to
give you
be
an example.
receiving the tax credit.
I'll give you an example. So I had to end up buying my house. I got out of the army 2 years ago. But when I moved back, me and my wife were looking for a house. But the problem was that all these companies were buying housing and they controlled the housing market. I think that should be illegal. And then every time we wanted to rent, there was $100 application fee. That's an issue. And then there was no real reason that we were going to get the house, but they wanted us to keep paying for all these application fees. Sorry.
You think
So
Donald
I
Trump is
had
more
to.
likely to put regulations like that in the market?
I think so. Yes. I mean, maybe not. I mean, there's a lot of things. There's too much for one person to do in America. There's too many problems. I
Like
think.
Donald Trump's going to regulate the big companies from monopolizing markets in America, really. Because the tariffs that he's advocating for are actually going to give a greater likelihood that American companies can monopolize more because they'll have less competition. Sounds like he's trying to benefit his American like oligopolic buddies. Like, when he said, hop in the market right now. Right now is a
I
pretty good
think.
time to invest,
I think the problem is that he's trying to fix everything all at once, and it's not. It's
Fix
not all
everything?
do all.
You mean market
Right. Look.
manipulation to
Right. Okay.
make his
Listen.
rich friends
The
money?
problem with America is that we have been in wars forever, like Afghanistan war, Iraq war, and then China has been investing in themselves with manufacturing. So they have prioritized different things.
Oh, and the
So
Biden-Harris administration through infrastructure and manufacturing through the Chips and Science Act, but Republicans don't want to acknowledge that. And
okay,
also, what you're
so
talking
let's
about is
say
what you're talking about is big government, right? Yeah. Is MAGA pro big government now?
no, but I'm more pro-American than having to buy anything else. So let's say example. Okay, Parker. I mean, you're both smarter than me. I give you that. I'm not like the smartest dude in the world. Okay, I give it to you. But look,
Oh
I mean,
shit!
y'all know policies more.
Where
Okay,
is
so if don't you think though that it's a problem that China sells a lot of our
I'll be right
medication
back.
and all these things, Parker, to us? Don't you think that could be an issue? Let's say if we went to a future war, we are reliant on China. How is that not an issue? They sell us a lot of our a lot of our electric grid, all of our solar panels, everything comes from there. How could that not be an issue, Parker?
It's not everything, and also they rely on us, right? Who are they going to be selling their products to? If it's not us, it's going to be people who are going to be paying less for them. Right? So they'll make significantly less money. It will harm their economy.
Then I just want to
Okay.
add on one thought here. When I was walking away, I heard you say, "Don't you think it's a problem that China's producing our pharmaceuticals for cheaper?" So the only ever time I'd find a problem with that is if like the pharmaceutical producers were using immoral means of production. Then like I'd agree with like maybe tariffs and sanctions on it. But like overwhelmingly, no, I don't think it's a problem outside of those two reasons. And the reason I say that is because like the cheaper pharmaceuticals are, the more people live, right? So it's like I absolutely disagree with tariffing cheaper pharmaceuticals from another country. And if another country is just completely subsidizing pharmaceutical production and our own because they have more productive capacities outside of a moral means of production, I think that we should absolutely leave it be. And if we wanted to do anything to respond to that, it would just be to subsidize our own pharmaceutical producers to reinvest into their productive capacities, and never, ever, ever to tariff the pharmaceuticals from other countries, because that will make people
Exactly.
die.
Don't you think that
Exactly.
China like basically has slave labor though compared
That
to America? Like, I mean, okay, just hear me out.
Then put tariffs specifically on the businesses that are engaging in that, right? Insofar as that they can't even operate in the United States, right? Rather than just placing it on the entire country, because when you place it on the entire country, you actually incentivize there to be lower labor standards in that country, so that the companies that are manufacturing there can still compete in American markets, given the fact that there's been a tariff implemented.
I've
So it's
also
actually
heard though
puts an
that
increase of
uh,
people who are treating people worse.
Okay, Parker. Okay, Dean. I've heard this. Okay, I've heard that people. Okay, let's say I'm an American and I get my stuff from China and I resell it into America. I heard that I can get it so much cheaper because the labor is very cheap and I don't have to go through so many laws and
Exactly,
hurdles
like you go to Trump
compared to
hotels.
America.
Exactly, like you go to
Compared
Trump
to
hotels
America.
and you see a bunch of the merch is made in China.
Okay.
So, is that because he's a good businessman now?
I mean, when you're just talking about business, you're just talking about money. It's nothing personal. But I want
Oh,
more
okay.
things here made. No. I want more things to be made here. But it's really hard because, Americans, they require more pay, which makes it go up. We require more health care over there. It's
So,
slave
so
labor.
why
And
so
all
why
the
didn't so why
businesses
didn't
over
Trump
there,
so why doesn't Trump get all of his products from America? Why doesn't he buy only in America? I think that would increase jobs in America.
it probably would, Parker.
Okay, so
It
why didn't he do that?
probably
If he
would.
actually believed in that, why didn't he do it?
Because money.
I don't know.
Because
Why don't
money.
you ask him
Because he
that?
cares more about money than he cares about American citizens getting jobs?
Hey, and I want to point out here that it's not always the case that the reason other countries produce goods for us is because they have lower labor standards, like lower minimum wages, etc. But also because they have higher productive capacities for some goods. Like for instance, we're in a trade deficit with Canada because we buy a shit ton of their lumber and a lot of their pharmaceuticals too, but that's neither here nor there. On lumber specifically, they just have easier means to get and yield more lumber for lower prices, even though their minimum wage is over double what ours is.
Like I said, though, I do not think that America has invested enough for the manufacturing in ourselves to do that, and
Oh, so
that's
you
been a
care? So you
problem.
care
Like,
about a manufacturing investment?
Yeah, name one bill that Donald Trump passed that increased manufacturing investment.
And we could also point out that
I know
manufacturing
you're going to talk
investment
about the CHIPS
was
Act. You're going to
flatlined.
talk
Oh
about
wait,
the
wait, 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 wait,
Infrastructure
wait!
Act
Just
by
stop,
the
just stop, just stop.
Democrats.
Under Donald Trump's first administration, investment in manufacturing was stagnant. Under the Biden-Harris administration, investment in manufacturing was whoop straight up, bro. Now that Trump's back in office, you know where it went? Stagnant again. If you wanted to vote for the party that would have invested more in American manufacturing, you should have voted for Harris.
And
See, I
again,
don't know.
name one
You're just
policy.
saying these things. I don't know policies, Parker. I don't know policies. Like, I mean, y'all know policies. I don't. I'm just a regular dude that works and tries to pay for my bills. That's it.
And then you increased your bills because you voted for Donald Trump. You know who's looking out
I
for
don't
you?
know. I mean, gas is cheaper right now. Eggs are cheaper.
It's not even
I
cheaper. It
mean,
was more expensive when I saw it.
maybe in California, but not here in Texas. Everything's okay. So if California is so great, why does everyone leave California with the
I'm
liberal
not.
policies and come here to Texas with Republican policies? I'm not saying Republicans are just all do all. There's a lot of things that I don't agree on both sides.
What about all
But
the people that are forced to leave the country because of your fucking draconian abortion laws that literally lead to women who have been assaulted not having access to abortion, right? Even in the first trimester.
see, that's something I don't agree with. I do not think that the government. See, there's a lot of
So,
things
so,
that I
so
don't
what
agree
about all
with
the
on
people
both
that have to
sides.
leave Texas because of that, right? Or we can point to the fact that, right, Texas is, going to lead to, right, more democratic policies within the context of Texas in the future, right? Along with the fact that Texas offsets their taxes by property tax, so there's higher property tax in Texas. Also, we can look at California. I mean, people choose to live here because of the incredible weather, right? You
Oh,
will
I love the
not be
weather. I
able
love
to
California,
compete
dude. I
with
mean,
California
it's
weather,
nice.
right?
Oh, I
And
agree with you, dude. California
people
weather's
stay
great.
here. Yeah, people stay here because of right how beautiful it is, because of how the weather's incredible. That's why people stay in California, right? That's more of what's going to determine why people are in certain areas comparative to others, rather than like the policies you're mentioning.
Look, I think California is a beautiful state. It is very expensive to live there. Like, dude,
Because
you
so
could
many
probably
people want to
okay.
live there.
Yeah, Hunter, that's the deal. Like a lot of people that move out of California because prices are cheaper elsewhere. I'll be the first to say it. Every time I go out to LA to see Parker, to do business, etc., I pay significantly more than I pay in rural Colorado, right? But that's not because of liberal policy. That's just because there's significantly more demand for goods there because there's a significantly larger amount of people that live there.
Yes, exactly. More people want to live there, therefore there's going to be a greater demand on goods.
That makes sense. I don't know. That's cool.
That's why every big city
But
has high
isn't
prices for
the
housing.
government, isn't the state of California in a negative? Isn't the state of California like negative every year because they just blow all their money? Like Gavin Newsom's doing such a good
I'm pretty
job.
sure they had a
Like, for
surplus recently,
example,
but I mean, like,
didn't Trump try to give y'all
I'm not like the
didn't
biggest
Trump
biggest
try to
fan of
give y'all
Newsom.
like all this water for all the wildfires, and then Gavin Newsom said no because he didn't want Trump for a win,
What?
for
Wait,
example?
wait, no, no, no. The only one that was threatening the access to funding for wildfire was Donald Trump, who was threatening like federal funding going to California for the wildfires because they didn't vote for him, right? And he had to get literally convinced to actually send the money. He gives those threats all the time, which is insane because he's threatening, right, people's like livelihoods, right? There are people that have lost their houses because of these, right? There are plenty of people that have lost their houses because of this.
Makes sense. I mean, I don't know how true that is, but
What?
dude,
You don't think
just
people lost
because
their
you
houses in LA? I
no, no,
live.
no. I'm saying that the Trump with the water and because he doesn't vote for them. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying
Oh,
because
okay. Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean,
Well,
just
well,
because you spit
Trump
something out
literally
doesn't
has
mean it's
said that
true, Parker.
publicly. Trump has said that publicly, so you can easily find that.
Then also, Gayla, thank you for the $10 over on Vimeo. I do appreciate you for the love, Gayla. Gayla says, keep up the good work. I appreciate that so much. Then also Ramara with the $5 on Venmo.
I will look it up, everyone.
And
Thank
Chelsea
you.
on with the $5 on Venmo as well. I do appreciate that so much. And then also Lindsay, thank you so much for the $20 over on PayPal. Lindsay says, I look forward every day to watching you school these MAGA individuals. Don't bring up username 26. He's an Aussie who has 5 profiles to stalk and call in. Waste of time. Just an FYI. I love you, Dean. Oh, thank you so much for the heads up, Linda. Sorry, Lindsay. Thank you so much for the love,
Dean.
everyone. At least 200 W's for Lindsay. Then also John, thank you for the $10. Ellie with a 10 as well. And yeah, I appreciate everyone. If you're watching and you want to support me, you could find my Venmo and the PayPal in the link in the bio or in the pin message on YouTube. Anyways, what's going on, Hunter?
Hey, Dean, I also got something I just want to say to you. And I don't, I think just because like someone that you disagree with them, I don't think it's right to like be very rude to them. Like, I don't agree with a lot of what you say or Parker says, but I respect you as a person. I didn't really respect that you were talking shit about veterans, dude. Some of the best people I've ever met have served this country, best leaders,
Some of the
best
best
men.
people I've ever
Right.
met have also
But
served this
just
country.
because they support Trump, that doesn't mean that you just get to shit on them, dude. Like, I mean, I have friends that are Democrats, and we disagree on a lot of things, but they're still great people. Like,
So,
don't just shit on people
I think that
because
there's a
they
difference.
support Trump.
I think there's a difference between bullying and shitting on somebody because of who they support, and like absolutely like calling out the hypocrisy between decisions. Like an hypocrisy that I was pointing out is in going into our military and being willing to lay your life down to protect and preserve the American Constitution and the American democracy, but then support somebody who has called for the abolition of the Constitution and launched the biggest external attack on the American democracy since the Civil War when he tried to cue the outcome of the 2020 election. Okay? Like, being MAGA and being the service member are absolutely antithetical insofar as patriotic values. And honestly, my question is, well, why do you serve our country? Because I cannot identify any reason that one would have to serve our country that is not completely adjacent to why we should not support Trump.
I was actually in basic training when all that happened, and I've seen some documentaries on it, but I wasn't. I was literally like in base training for like 6 months. So they were telling us about it while this happened, but like I didn't have social media or anything like that when all that happened. So, but I mean, I don't think that Trump would just like, hey, go storm this and do it. But I mean,
So I'm talking about his fake electorate plot where he sent fake slates of electorates to 7 different key swing states that Biden won. And he sent them with like fake votes from those states to send back to Congress saying that he won them, to steal those states from Biden in the Electoral College. And then he pressured Mike Pence into certifying the fake votes as real so he could be installed for a second term. And then he pressured the DOJ into falsely announcing widespread voter fraud to justify his installment. And then he like admitted to it all in court.
okay. I mean, I'll look it up, dude. I mean, I'm not against what you're saying. I'll look it up, man. Appreciate it. Anyways, Hey, thank you for your time. Hey, hey, y'all take care.
Take
I
care.
got to go. Thank you.
Alrighty. Well, everyone, do tap that screen to get to 1 million likes here on TikTok. Should live as well. How much longer do you plan on to
Ooh.
be on live, Dean?
I'm sorry, I was chewing. I'll probably be on live for like another 40, 50 minutes.
Okay, for sure.
I'll
For
hop
sure.
off. All right, guys, we're going to go to get that next guest up in the box. If you are on that queue, make sure that you support Trump, you guys. If you are on that queue, make sure that you support Trump. And then once again, just thank you, everyone, so much for your support. I'd also like to thank Winnie. Oh, my God. Winnie with a $50 super chat over on YouTube. Dude, Winnie, thank you so much. 1 second, Winnie. I'm so sorry. Candyman, what's up? Do you support Trump?
I hit it by accident.
Candyman, hello?
Mistake.
He said it was a mistake.
Oh, no worries, no worries. We're going to move on to the next guest. Everyone, just give us a minute to get that next guest up in the live. We got Brody loading in. And then once again, Winnie's message says, wow, that was awesome. I'd love to see how fast you could go through Shakespeare's soliloquies. I could speak quite fast, Winnie. That is true. Thank you for the love. And then also AS with the 50 Canadian dollars over on YouTube Super Chat. Thank you so much. So I have one question. I really wanted to hear you on this. Why do people not, and I quote, at least vote against a criminal? I genuinely don't get it, man. They're also saying that they're French Canadian. Yeah, dude. Like just America is different, man. See, America is built different. The cultists and the conspiracy theorists in America are just different. The standards you think you and your friends from Canada would hold are completely different than the standards that MAGA operates off of. It's crazy, right? But thank you so much for the donation. Also, what's going on, Brody? Do you support Trump?
To an extent, yes. I just have one question for you guys.
Okay, did you vote for him?
No, I did not vote for him.
Okay, who did you vote for?
I voted for Kamala. Can I just ask one question before you guys kick me?
So you're saying that your opinion on Trump has become more positive since the election?
No. I just wanted to ask you guys one question.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, go. Feel free to hit up the Discord, man. We'd love to hear it in there. But like, come on, you're not a Trump supporter, so we're gonna move on. Everyone, just give us a minute, you guys. Let me know if you're maggot down below in that chat. We'll get you up here on the live, everyone. If you would just kind of give us a moment. See if this is who I think it is.
Can you hear me?
Hey, what's going on? Do you support Trump?
Yeah, I voted for Trump.
Why did you make an entirely new account to come up here?
Yeah, I don't know.
I just don't trust it, man. After like the last couple of weeks, I just do not trust that anymore. We're gonna go to get that next guest up here right now. SG, thank you so much for the gold mine. I do really appreciate that. And we're gonna go to get outrun reality up on the stream. Yeah, that's just like I don't trust that, bro. I don't trust it. I don't trust it. What's going on, Outrun? Do you support Trump?
I did not mean to do that. I'm so sorry.
Hey, man, no worries at all. No worries at all. Have a good one.
I love you though. Bye.
I appreciate it. Brianna, thank you for the galaxy. Wow, it is proving very difficult to get a guest up in here for a debate. Oh, man. See, Michelle wants to join. What's up, Mufasa? Do you support Trump? Not even here, quite frankly. Yo, Linda! Thank you for the $10 donation on PayPal. Linda says, you rock. Dude, no, Linda, you rock. Everybody show some love to Linda down below in that comment section. Quite literally right now. Oh, we're getting Katie up in here. What's going on, Katie? Do you support Trump?
Yes, I do.
How old are you?
I'm 18.
All right. So what year were you born in?
2007. My birthday was March.
Nice. So why do you support Trump?
Well, I just wanted to know why you and Parker look so damn ticklish. So damn ticklish.
Ticklish?
Yes, and that's not even an insult.
Listen, I usually like kick people off at this point, but I just don't even know what that means.
It just means, I don't know. I think it's the vibes you guys give off. It's just like, oh my God, I want to tickle them. I don't know if it's like, I guess it could be physical too. You guys just have a physical, I don't know.
Well,
Interesting.
Very interesting. I appreciate you for your explanation there, Katie. Nick, thank you so much for the $10 donation over on YouTube Super Chat, saying, hey, Dean, it's my 23rd birthday and love the debates. Thanks to y'all been able to convert some of my MAGA buddies. Yo, let's go, Nick. Dude, that's awesome. Everybody, please show some love to Nick down below in that chat. That is, quite frankly, phenomenal. All right, we're going to get that next guest up here. We got Michelle loading in. Here we go. What's going on, Michelle? Do you support Trump?
Hey, I just wanted to say, first of all, Parker does not look ticklish at all. Like, I don't know what that.
Parker does not like what?
Ticklish.
Okay.
She said no. She said you don't look ticklish, quite frankly. But I got the vibe
Okay.
she was not a Trump supporter. What's going on, Lil's
Okay.
Prive? Do you support Trump?
Yes, I do.
Okay, you are like 15 from the UK.
Wait, I'm literally. No, wait. Let me just give you my story.
I'm sorry.
Literally.
Literally. I actually can't. I don't think I. Literally. I don't think I could say the word literally with a British accent.
Dude, my British accent is horrible.
Literally? No, because that sounds weird. Literally. No, that's very. Literally. Oh, there you go. Literally.
Well, what's up, everyone on YouTube? I actually set up StreamYard for today, so I can start taking guests on YouTube now.
Literally.
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 Literally. Literally.
Literally. Literally.
Literally.
What's going on, Ronnie? Support Trump?
My mother really does, and I try to send her a lot of your content to try to open her eyes a little bit, but even like straight from Trump's mouth, her argument is there's more to the story. That's not the full story. That's not real.
Do you see your mom a
So
lot?
it's just
Out of
really
context.
hard.
Do you
It's
see your
so
mom a lot?
hard.
Do you see your mom a lot?
I live with my mother, so it's very difficult.
Is she with you right now?
No, she's on her way home from work, but we try our best to not like watch this kind of stuff around each other for like respect. But then at the same time, it hurts my brain because I'm like, open your eyes, woman.
Well, Ronnie, you know, if you ever get to a point when you want to come up here and throw her on the mic, I'll keep your name in mind. All right.
Hey, thank you for that because she might be down for that sometime.
That'll be
great.
So I'll ask her.
All right, awesome, Ronnie.
We will. We
Have a
will.
good one.
Cool. Thank you.
What's up, Straps? You support
Salem,
Trump?
thank you. I really appreciate the membership subscription. Thank you so much.
You support Trump, Straps?
Yeah, everyone. He's gonna make everyone loads of money, and
Okay. Mr. Britt, get out of here. Well, we're moving on to the next guest. We got Jace loading up into the box right now, quite frankly. It is a rough day out here. Wow. 5.5 thousand people, not one person that wants to debate me. Rough day, you guys.
We can try my the new account if you want to.
I mean, do you think that we're going to beat 5.5K?
I don't know. We'll see.
It's up to you. I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't
It's
know.
your call. I mean, hey, man, if we're just not getting guests.
You know, it could just be worth it, you know?
Yeah. What's up, Pollock? Do you support Trump?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Why do you support the worst president of your life?
Well, why do you consider him the worst?
For sure. I mean, well, like, bad policy, but like, you know, shocker, presidents have bad policy. I'd say it is how undeniably bad they are, such as intentionally ushering America into a recession, crashing markets, while also stripping women and girls away of their human rights, while also serving as the largest threat to the American Constitution since the Civil War. And that's on top of the fact that he's a rapist, narcissist, felon, who is very xenophobic and tried to ban all new Muslims from coming into America in his first term. I mean, I could go on and on for
Okay,
days,
so-
but there's just a general look over right there.
So, for starters, I'm going to say for one, I am a Muslim, and he wasn't banning Muslims; he was banning Middle Easterns. That's what it was.
He called for a total and complete shutdown of. Wait, actually, let me restart. If Donald Trump called for a total and complete shutdown of all new Muslims coming into America, would you still support him?
Probably, yeah.
Motherfucker, I was like just getting my laptop open to play you that clip.
Wait,
and it
can I ask
doesn't
him a
even matter
question?
because you don't even hold red lines. You cult member.
Yeah, you'd be
No.
okay with not supporting. Wait, would you be okay with voting for Donald Trump if he wanted to restrict all Middle Easterners from coming to the country?
Yes, because you could restrict any group of people you want. You could you
Okay,
could
so
restrict
then I'll ask you
any
this question: Would you be
Europeans,
would you
could
be okay with him restricting everyone from Africa?
if you wanted to, sure. Because it's just a continent. It's just a populace within a continent. You can do that if you want. Just as
Okay, what about this? Would you be okay with him restricting everyone from Europe?
if he wanted to, sure. Would I follow that? No, but he's
Oh,
more
now you won't follow it.
No, what I'm saying is I will support anybody's policy in the aspect of if they have certain things that they want to get done, go achieve that at all costs. I don't care, except for, of course, like let's say, if you're going to extreme measures as in killing people to get that done, that would obviously be, off the, off the table. But if you've got policy that you want, regardless of whether or not someone supports that, you should go at it. And
Okay, how about this? Would you be okay with him restricting all Christians from coming to the country?
well, no, because that would be anti-Christian values.
Wait, isn't it? Would Jesus support banning all Muslims from coming to the country?
Well, as a Muslim, we believe that he's a Muslim.
Whoa!
You just advocate that you'd be okay with banning Muslims from coming to the country, and you are Muslim?
Yo, just real quick. You just said anti-Christian values.
What is going on? Stop.
Wait. Just real quick. Hey, I have a question. Who's Aisha?
What?
You're not a Muslim.
No, what did you say?
I said, who's Aisha?
That would be the wife, wouldn't it?
Okay. So you know what? Who Prophet Muhammad's wife? What?
No, just ask him what the 5 pillars are. What are the 5 pillars?
Yeah.
I'm a recent convert.
Okay.
Okay.
Can you name one of the 5 pillars?
I'm so sorry,
Not
bro,
off the
but
top
like,
of my head.
no, you're a Christian. Because you said that it would like violate Christian values. Why the fuck would you care about Christian values? You think that Christian
Because
values...
when the nation was first built, it was built upon Christian values.
But you think that Christian values are literally the corrupt word of God. Like you think that it's been corrupted by man, it's been reiterated by too many people too many times, and it's all corrupt. And then also, if Christian values founded this country, holy shit!
Okay, so for starters, just because I believe
wait.
that,
Also, you just said that you were a recent Muslim convert.
Hold on.
So I have a question. Did you convert to Muslim? Did you convert to Islam?
Yes.
No. Because you know what one belief of individuals that follow the religion of Islam think, it's that you were born a Muslim, right? And when you become Muslim later in your life, you're not converting to Islam, you're reverting to Islam.
Okay, well, I mean, I've never really heard that before. I was raised Jewish, so it's like...
So if you were raised under the Jewish religion, and then you apparently, quote-unquote, converted to Islam, why the fuck would you care if something contradicts Christian scripture? Like, for half your life, you thought this guy was like a false prophet claiming to be the son of God that wasn't the son of God. And now for the second half of your life, you just think that Christian values are the corrupt, false beliefs of God. Like why the fuck would you care about Christian values?
Because at the very core of it, it's all still worshiping the same God in a sense. It's like the Jews worship Adonai or Elohim as it would be stated in, I think Adonai is the Hebrew word for that. Aramaic for God would be Allah, which is the language that Jesus spoke, and anytime that he would talk about God, he would refer to it as Allah. Muslims call God Allah.
Okay, stop.
And so,
Did you just say that there's a difference between the word Allah and Allah?
No, Elah. E-L-A-H and A-L-L-A-H. It's two different languages, but it's all referencing the same
also,
type
wasn't
of...
like the New Testament
can I ask him this question?
I thought also like the New Testament was written in Greek. Listen, I don't understand how this is relevant. I don't know what the fuck you're doing. Dude.
Look, we're getting off topic here. The thing is I respect all Abrahamic religions, all their values. think that those values
Why?
should be protected at all costs
Why?
because I think it leads a more righteous life.
Okay. So can I lead a righteous life without holding to any of those? Like as an atheist?
Not in my belief, no.
Okay. Why can Christians or anyone else, who's a part of Abrahamic religion do so, but not me?
Because it's inside the word. It's inside. I mean, you read it in the Torah. You read it in the
Do you
the
think
Gospel,
there's someone
you read it
that's
in
a
the
Christian
Quran.
out? Do you think there's anyone that's a Christian out there that commits more sin than me?
Absolutely.
Okay, so then what's the reason?
I'm saying the values should be protected. A person can commit sin. That's anybody can do that. It could be any Muslim, any Jew, any Christian, any atheist, any agnostic. Anybody can commit sin. A Muslim could be worse than an atheist. A Christian can be worse than an atheist. A Jew can be worse than an atheist. And the same way could be around that an atheist could be worse than anybody around.
Okay. So then I guess here's my question then. Why are you okay with banning Muslims from coming to the country?
Well, I didn't say that I'm okay with them banning Muslims.
Yeah, you
All
did.
I'm saying is that
You did. You said you were you'd still vote for Donald Trump even if he called to ban all Muslims from coming to the country.
Yeah. What?
because he's not banning Islam.
What? What?
If he wanted to ban Islam in general, yes, I'd have a problem with that.
But so you're okay with banning Muslims from coming to the country, but not Islam?
Well, it's any group of people. If he wants to ban any group of people outside of the nation, absolutely.
So would you?
So
be
you'd be okay with
banning,
him banning Muslims?
Would you be okay with Donald Trump banning all new black people from coming to America?
Well, my personal thing is I think that we should ban all immigration, set everything. I'm kind of an isolationist, I would say.
Would you say that America's a white country?
Statistically speaking, yes.
Do you think that America should remain a white country?
No, because in the aspect of should we remove white people as a majority due to race, or
Do you think that white people being a majority of the people in America is a good thing?
well, that question could be asked anywhere. Because if I were to say yes, you would be like, "Ha, you're a white supremacist."
You're right, I would.
So how are you going to answer that question? Because I know how I would answer that question.
Yeah, my answer would be like, no, like there's nothing necessarily good about like white people being a majority of the demographic of individuals.
What
in
about
America.
what
How about you?
Is it a good thing?
No, we're not going to let you ask a question until you answer ours.
Well, like I said, I'm an isolationist. Don't let any immigration whatsoever.
You're not answering the question.
Wait,
I
you're
am
against
answering the
all
question, but you won't let
immigration?
me.
Wait. I have a question. Would you be against your parents or great grandparents or great grandparents? Would you be against them immigrating to the country?
Well, that's the past.
Okay, I'm asking you in the past, would you be against them immigrating to the country?
Well, it doesn't matter what happens in the past. It's just about what's present and what we can build on in the future.
No, I'm asking you, if you could go back to the past, would you be for restricting them from coming to the country? Chris, think of the $1.23.
Well, obviously I'd be for that because obviously I wouldn't exist today.
Okay,
Why would I support
Okay, so
my
you're for immigration if it benefits you, but you're against immigration if it benefits anyone else?
I think I think that isolationists like this guy should just go like isolate yourself on a desolate island somewhere. And
Yeah, seriously. How about you go live with the penguins that you just tariffed?
Why would you tariff an animal? That's the stupidest statement ever.
That's what Donald Trump did. They tariffed penguins.
You don't tariff penguins.
He did. He literally tariffed penguins.
They don't have monetary means.
No, listen. He tariffed an island made up of only penguins that have no imports or exports.
And who owns that island?
Does that matter? No,
Yes, it does.
There's
because
no
that's who he's
imports or
actually
exports.
tariffing. That's because that's who he's actually tariffing is whoever owns that island.
So why would he individually tariff them rather than just tariffing the country?
you do tariff that country by proxy. I mean, you can't just sit there and say,
No,
"Oh,
no.
we're
If you
gonna only-"
if you tariffed the country, wouldn't you just tariff the island by proxy? If that's true, why do you uniquely tariff the island?
Well, what are you talking about?
I'm talking about Trump tariffing an island made up of penguins.
And what's that island called?
I can find the name if you would like me to.
Yo, real quick before Covey starts cooking, I would really like to thank Christian. I'm sorry, Athena, Covey, one of the same. One of the same. I honestly, I really like the name Covey, and I really like the name Athena. Which one do you prefer?
Athena, I think. For people who know me, Athena.
Athena.
And I think
All right. You got
prior
it.
to the Covey era as well.
You got it.
It's called the herd in McDonald's Island. It's a remote territory inhabited only by penguins, seals, and seabirds.
All right.
Does this? Oh, you wanted to thank somebody, by the way, Dean.
Just real quick, I did want to say thank you to Christian for the $200
Parker, what'd you say
donation
that?
over on PayPal. Oh my God, Christian, thank you so much for the $200. Oh my God. So Christian says in the note here, thank you for supporting LGBTQ plus rights, and then says don't read out loud. And I will not read the rest of that out loud, but thank you so much for the love, man. If we could all please get at least 2,000 big Christian W's down below. That'd be so incredibly kind. I do not deserve that amount of money. That is so incredibly kind of you. Thank you so much, Christian. And then I'd also like to thank Catherine with the $15 and Maya with the $20 over on PayPal as well. Thank you, Catherine, Maya, and then Christian with the $200 donation. Holy shit, dude. Thank you. I mean it. I do not deserve that. But I want to go ahead and pass the mic off to Athena to cook Pollock. The mic is yours. Take it away.
Cool.
There you go. Yep.
Hi. Pollock, you said you're a Muslim?
Yes,
Where are you from? Like originally, like ethnically?
America.
Like ethnically though. Are you like a revert or were you like born Muslim?
Are you talking about my, like, race?
I'm
or what are
asking
talking
you,
about?
Muslim is not a race. I'm asking like, are you a revert or are you like born Muslim?
No, like I said, I was raised Jewish. Well, actually,
You were raised Jewish and then
Yes.
reverted to Islam?
Well, he actually converted to Islam.
Okay, well, first of all, I mean, if you want to be snarky, my bad if I accidentally mistake a term. Like, it's not like I was being, rude to other Muslims. Like, my bad for not saying reverted. But
No, I think it's just a bit odd because usually like people who are newly reverted, they're called Muslim reverts, So it's kind of like something like it's a known terminology to people who like revert to Islam. Like when you said you were Jewish, you don't say convert, you say you do a giur. If you're Jewish, you convert. If you're Christian, you revert. If you're Muslim,
any time at the masjid here in the city I live, anytime I've said convert in front of any of the other Muslims, I've never once been corrected. Not by a single one. I have a Muslim friend in Canada. I've never been corrected by him anytime I said convert. And so how am I supposed to know the correct terminology if no other Muslim has corrected me?
okay. And you think like a Muslim ban is specifically like is good?
You said what?
You think a Muslim ban is good? Like Trump's Muslim ban? Banning people from predominantly Muslim countries, like Muslim majority countries.
Well, I mean, he's banning the people from those countries. He's not banning the religion, the people of religious faith.
But why is he specifically targeting Muslims though? Especially when there is no evidence of these citizens from those particular countries having committed T attacks on U.S. soil.
Because what you see in the West is Islam fear-mongering in the aspect of, I mean, when I was a kid, I'll be honest here, when I was a kid and we were being taught about like 9/11 and stuff like that, I used to hate Muslims and I used to want to join the army so that I could go to war and kill these people. But
You used to go to war to want to unalive Muslims?
Yes, because that's the type of propaganda being taught in the West, is that
Okay.
Islam's bad, like especially with, I mean, I'm going to speak in specific instances,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not. What I'm about to say is not all encompassing, but if you take a look at what happened with the whole Malala situation, I don't know if you guys remember who that.
No, I know who Malala is. Yes.
Right. So obviously, what they did to her was not appropriate, and to the other women, banning education, and I guess in some countries where they force them to wear burqas and whatnot, there's nothing in the Quran that states that they need to cover every ounce of their body.
But I would. Okay, okay. You're saying all of this, but I'm confused as to why a Muslim revert is saying this. Because
Well,
like, if you're a Muslim revert, you would have had like deconstructed these Islamophobic beliefs that you held, because now you have studied Islam and you've reverted because you believe in Islam. So I don't know why you continue upholding these Islamophobic beliefs.
What are you saying? Like, what is Islamophobic?
What?
Yeah, when you're specifically talking about what happened to Malala and trying to pin it on Islam,
No,
when the
that's
people who
not.
did
That's
it
not what I
happened
was
to be
not.
Muslims.
I was not pinning it on Islam. What I'm saying is that the people, the governing powers that were doing that, was not okay. But what the Western media does is, instead of trying to say, "Oh, hey, like these people, the women there wear hijabs and stuff like that," it's
Mhm.
because they're oppressing these women. Whereas in the Quran, it states that the women are to cover everything up to their hands and their face to protect their purity and innocence.
So do you,
That's not taught. What
so
is
do you
taught is that they're
believe?
being oppressed.
Okay, so do you believe any of these things that you just said with regards to the hijab oppressing women and stuff like that?
I don't think that the hijab oppresses women. No.
Okay, so then if you don't believe it, I don't understand why you don't have an issue with people from Muslim majority countries having restricted entry. Because you clearly are saying that these beliefs are not rooted in truth, that they're Islamophobic and people are being fearmongered to hold these Islamophobic beliefs. Then why are you okay with a Muslim ban?
Well, before I fully answer that question, you do understand that God gave us free will, correct?
I don't necessarily fully agree with that. No,
Well,
I think the
is he
Bible
is
the
God?
Bible is full of
Are
the
you wait?
Bible
Are
is.
you a religious person?
I did grow up religious. I wouldn't say that I'm necessarily religious anymore, but I would say that the Bible is full of stories of people exercising their free will and being punished for doing so. But I don't know what
Right.
that has to do with you being for like a Muslim ban.
Not a Muslim ban, a Middle Eastern ban. And it's not that I'm for that. It's that people have free will. And if someone wants to do something, God has given them the ability to do it, regardless of if it's righteous or sinful.
Wait, I'm sorry. Is Somalia in the Middle East?
No, Somalia is in Africa, is it not?
Okay, so Somalia is also like on the list. So it's not Middle Eastern countries, it's Muslim majority countries.
Okay, well, I didn't know anything about African countries. I just knew about Middle Eastern.
No, Somalia is also on that list, right? So it's not only Middle Eastern countries, it's specifically Muslim majority countries. I'm pretty sure Sudan is on that list, if I'm not mistaken, as well, which is another African country. So if you have deconstructed your Islamophobia, why are you then okay with people from Muslim majority countries where there is no evidence that these citizens from these countries had committed T attacks on U.S. soil? Why are you okay with them being banned or having restricted entry?
Well, again, it's like I said, it's not Muslim. It's the propaganda that's being fed, and obviously someone's going to react off of whatever propaganda is being fed. And there's, you could point at tons of instances that happened pretty recently, actually, within the past couple, I'd say, 4 or 5 years. And people just react off what they see on the media. So if what you're seeing on the media all the time is, oh, hey, these Middle Eastern countries, these Muslim predominant countries, are behaving in certain ways or whatnot, or these people have like a certain lifestyle that's evil or that's oppressive, right? Of course, you're going to react off that. So to
No,
sit
no,
there,
but I'm not. So again, I'm not arguing whether Western society holds these beliefs. Western society is inherently Islamophobic. That's not what I'm arguing. I'm arguing as to why you are holding these beliefs. Because if you are a revert, you should know that these stereotypes aren't necessarily rooted in any truth, right?
so should I
So
not vote for someone because of one specific thing that may not be?
no, but you should be able to critique him. You should be able to criticize him. Can you
Right.
not?
So I can support Donald Trump. I can criticize him, and he can be taught certain things so that he may be taught the truth, rather than sitting there and be like, oh well, he's banning this, so therefore I'm just gonna
Do you
hold him to
criticize
that.
him for the Muslim ban?
Well, where is it does it explicitly say? I mean, you can look. I've never personally seen it or heard it. If you can point me to him specifically saying that, like
He called for a
verbatim,
complete and total shutdown of Muslims entering the country. Look up Trump Muslim ban, you'll see it. Grace, thank you for the $25. Thank you so much on Venmo. Can we do W's for Grace in the comment section? And Linda, thank you for the $10 on PayPal. Thank you so much. Can we do W's for both of them? Thank you.
I can play a clip as soon as my computer turns on. It's just dead.
yeah, that'd be cool. I mean, look, I'm
But real
all
quick,
about
I
the
just have to thank
truth.
Gabriella real quick for the $15 over on Venmo. Thank you so much for the love, Gabriella. And I read your message there. That is incredibly kind. And then also Nick, once again, with the $10 saying, hey, Dean, it's my 23rd birthday. Yo, can we get some happy birthday Nicks down below in that chat? That'd be phenomenal. Okay, I kind of want to shift the conversation. Why did you vote for Trump? Why do you support Trump today?
Well, I didn't vote at all, but I do support Trump because he supports more of my values,
Like what?
protecting religious values and whatnot, keeping
What?
those.
Dude, I swear to God, I swear to fuck, he tried to ban every person that holds to your religious values from coming into America. And that's
And he
exactly
still
what we were just
Okay,
talking about.
so
But then
let's
you tell
say-
me the
look,
biggest
look.
reason why you support him is because he protects religious values? Bro,
Look.
I'm going to put it out there.
Look.
It actually doesn't even protect Christian values. I want to make that one known. No, his economic policy has redistributed wealth from the poor to the rich. You read Psalms, you read Matthew, you read John, you read the gospel of Jesus Christ. That is the furthest thing from religious values. The persecution of predominantly Muslim countries when Jesus would sit at the round table with anybody, regardless of their religion, regardless of their faith, that's against Christian values. Wow, dude.
Okay.
How exactly is he protecting religious
should
values?
should I vote for Kamala Harris when
Kamala.
he-
She was a more Christian
okay.
candidate. Kamala Harris was objectively the more Christian candidate.
Yet when someone at a rally said Christ is king, she said you guys are
No,
at the wrong
no,
rally.
no.
Yeah,
Complete
oh, no,
misinformation.
don't.
You want to know why? You want to know why? Because it is the case that they were literally a Trump supporter heckling the crowd before that, and you listen to like literally a cut off clip, right? That only references that part. And that was not what she was saying that in response to.
And so when you promote homosexuality and other
Wait. How is Kamala Harris promoting people, one, to be gay, and two, how is that wrong? For her to be like it's okay to be gay?
because God made man for woman and woman for man.
So you're homophobic?
I have religious values.
That's not religious values. It's called being homophobic.
Wait,
if
so
you-
I just want
if
to run
you
this.
wanna-
I
if
want
you wanna
to
call
run
it-
this
if you
real
wanna
quick.
call
I have a
religion
quick question.
homophobic,
I have a
then
quick
you
question.
can.
I have a quick question. Would you be able
What's
to
up?
point us towards? So why exactly is it wrong for two men to fuck?
Yeah, tell me.
Well, I want the reason.
Because God did not make that for a man to be with a man.
Okay, can I ask you a question? Then what about the P spot? Why did God make it that there is a P spot within the male asshole that literally produces sexual pleasure when stimulated? Please explain that one to me.
The what?
The P spot within the
Also,
male asshole, right? That
why-
when stimulated produces sexual pleasure.
Also,
why did God create that?
If you're Muslim, why are you not calling God Allah?
Because Allah is just the Arabic translation of God.
Yeah, but I think it's like incredibly typical for individuals that would follow Islam to use the Arabic translation of God, which is Allah, as the correct way to reference like the creator.
That's absolutely true, Dean. I do want him to respond to that point though. Like, why did God make the pee spot?
Isn't that just a prostate?
Yeah, but it produces sexual pleasure when stimulated. Why did God make it that way?
Why are things that are sinful pleasurable?
Oh, okay. Wait, no, but like, okay. So then, are you saying that like, because it is the case that it's pleasurable to engage in like vaginal intercourse, that's somehow wrong then?
Yeah, because just because something is feel good doesn't mean it's right.
Well, it doesn't mean it's bad. So then
Ju-
what's wrong with
just-
it? Wait, you got to tell me
just
what's wrong
because-
with it. What's wrong with it?
I'm gonna get there. I can go and do drugs and it can feel good, right?
No, but what's wrong with it? You got to tell me what's wrong with it. What's wrong specifically with people, two men engaging in sex?
Because it's unholy, it's unclean.
So I'll ask you this question: what's wrong with a man, giving oral to another man? Do you think oral's wrong?
Yes, it's unholy, it's
You
unclean.
think you don't like oral, bro?
Why would you're talking about a man giving it to another man?
Okay, what about a man giving it? Like, what about you giving oral to your like wife? You think that's wrong?
No, that's fine because that's
No, that's fine. Okay, so then why would it be wrong for a woman to do that to another woman?
because it's unholy, it's unclean.
Why is it unholy? Why unclean? How is it unclean now?
By unclean, I mean spiritually, not
How is it
physically.
spiritually unclean? Please tell me.
Because God made man for woman and woman for man.
Where did God say in the Bible that it's wrong for a woman to lick another woman's vagina? Not like literally, like I'm in a figurative sense, of course, because that's not what you. Yeah.
Well, I mean, in the Bible it states. I mean, I can't give you the exact places in the
Fuck,
Bible.
are you quoting the Bible?
Because in Islam it says first came the Torah, first came the gospel, then came the Quran.
And the Bible today, in accordance with Islam, is corrupted. It's false. It's wrong.
But
It's been corrupted by the translation of
here's the thing.
man.
The likelihood that 100% of every single word inside of the Bible being corrupted is impossible.
So,
Can you tell me? Wait, can you tell me where in the Quran it says that it's wrong for a woman to give another woman oral?
Quick question, Pollock. What is the 5 pillars of Islam?
Oh, he didn't know.
That's because I'm still learning the religion.
And I asked you to name one of them. I asked you to name one of them, and you didn't know.
Y'all want to act like these people are saying he's not Muslim. That's crazy. I believe in the Prophet Muhammad.
Have a
What is
question.
the Shahada?
Yes, I did my Shahada.
Okay, what do you say in the Shahada?
I didn't memorize it.
Wait, but okay, what do you say in English in the Shahada?
Like I said, I didn't memorize it. Okay.
No, but you don't have to memorize it. You just have to like literally know what the Shahada is. Like just give me like a translation of what you don't even have to say it in Arabic. Like what do you say in the Shahada?
Like, what did I say verbatim or the premise of it?
The premise of it. What is a Shahada? Like, yeah, what is a Shahada? Like the premise of it. What do you say when
That
you
the
take your
Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, is the messenger of Allah, and that Islam is the one true religion.
No. You don't say that in the Shahada. Are you Googling it?
Bro.
Yeah, he's probably Googling
Is
it.
there anything that y'all want to go over with him? Because I just like want to kick on.
Go for it.
I don't know why somebody would lie about being Muslim just to
I'm not
justify
lying
Muslim.
about being Muslim.
Okay.
Like
And the live got banned. Yippee! Yippee! Let's go, dude. It's been a long motherfucking day, chat. It's been a long goddamn day. And we got a ban warning. Sweet. Sweet. All right, chat. Listen. I'm tired. I'm very tired. It's been a long day. Okay. All right. Well, we got a ban for guest violations, hate speech, hateful behavior. It happened today. I mean, it happens a lot. Anyways, hey, you guys. So it looks like the only account that we'll have to go live on is going to be brand new. So here's what I'm going to do real quick. if I could have everybody watching this live that like wants to watch my live tomorrow. Sorry, that's the For You page. It's a TikTok about Daniel Larson getting nervous and then busting a move. Interesting. Anyways, if I could have every single one of you guys go follow at It Might Be Dean on TikTok, that would be phenomenal. Okay? At It Might Be Dean. Let me just like spam that in the chat a couple times. If you guys could all go follow that account, that would be phenomenal. Because unfortunately, I feel like that's where we're going to have to do our debates tomorrow. And honestly, from here on out, because I don't see the ban that we just got on At It's Not Dean getting overturned. And that gave it an official account warning. So, yeah. Unfortunate. But hey, guys, I'm like ridiculously tired. So I am going to go ahead and hop off for the night. I'd highly implore you all to go raid at Parker Get a Job on YouTube. Go show him some love. And I'm going to go get some dinner. Love y'all. Have a good night.